This is a show first, right?
What's that?
Is this a show first, or did we do this when you
No, this is
were?
a first.
Dude, when I just got off Royal Caribbean. Are you here for the event tomorrow?
I'm here for the event today.
Well, I guess it's after midnight.
It is.
Who are you with? The radio station?
I am.
Nice to meet you. I'm Steve.
Hey, Steve, I'm Mark. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you.
What station are you with?
Florida Sports Network. We're across the state.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got a room tonight and I got a room tomorrow. So I'll see
Awesome.
you. So can you tell me, or are you busy?
I'm just getting ready to go on the air like in 2 minutes.
Are
What's
you
up?
really?
Yeah.
I was just curious. So I heard the event starts at 9 a.m.
11 a.m.
11.
11 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good because I can sleep in because I haven't gone to bed yet. 11 a.m. Are they doing any kind of giveaways or
That I don't know.
Okay. And your name was
Mark Miller.
And you're going to be on the air in 2 minutes.
And yes, I am.
Can I get a feature?
I'm going to pass on that.
Okay.
All right.
At least I asked.
I appreciate
What
it.
can I listen to you? What channel?
ESPN Southwest Florida, 98.1.
98. I can find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on the internet. Miller and Moulton.
ESPN 98.1.
Yep.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
All right, my man.
I wish you luck. Good
Thank
luck.
you.
I wish you luck too, Mark.
I love the fact he doesn't work there, and he says, "Glad to have you here." Man, he's fired up. He's going to lose his entire life savings in the next 36 hours. I don't know what he's going to bet on, but
We're good.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
We're good.
All right. You need anything?
No, I got my coffee, I got my microphone. I'm all set, Kathy. Thank you. How you doing?
Hi. Hi, Kath.
David says hello.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Right back at you, David.
Wish he was here.
There it is.
Yeah, me too. Instead, I get Tommy DeVito.
Giants and Packers. I think he thinks the same thing. She went,
Hey, Mark. I am sure this is the least of our worries today, but those Molly Maid commercials might not be ready to go until tomorrow. They're not showing up in the library. I
All
put
right.
it in. It says that, it might take a second to load, so maybe later in the show. But
Okay. Keep me posted.
yeah, sorry about that.
Well, Mark, your appearance could be brought to you by. Because when you need to clean up Miller and Moulton's mess, you call Molly Maid. Hello, friends. Baby Jules, KW, AJC, Paul. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Got a lot going on today. We're a show today.
All right, we will roll with the punches today. If anything needs to be adjusted, let me know. And here we go. 3 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend. This is a big Miller and Moulton show. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I'm in New York City getting ready for one of two Monday Night Football games. Packers, Giants, Dolphins hosting the Titans. But Mark Miller is on location. Mark, where are you?
I am at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee as they are getting ready to open their sportsbook kiosk today. The roulettes, the craps, they're all going today as well. Right after the show, I'm going to be rolling bones, David. I'm fired up.
Man, I am so jealous. So jealous. Can we trade? If I offered you to trade places, would you?
No. No, that means I'd have to watch the Giants and the Packers, and I have no interest in doing that.
Okay, if I was at the Titans and the Dolphins, would you trade places?
Maybe.
I don't know. I think you'd have the better of the deal too, because you could go gamble, have a great day, eat, drink, gamble, have fun, and then still go home and watch the game. I think I'd rather be where you are. First thing, sir, why are you at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee?
Well, like I said, the sportsbook opens today. The craps and roulette open today. They've got a big, huge event. Jimmy Johnson's here. Tito Ortiz, the UFC fighter, is going to be here. Some other dignitaries. A big, huge event starting. I mean, the news cameras were out rolling live this morning when I pulled in at 5:30 in the morning. The news beat me here this morning.
Are you going to be on the news? I mean, they have to have video of somebody walking in the building at 5 a.m. Did they get you?
They didn't get me. I did get a dirty look because I pulled up near and my lights got in the shot, and the cameraman was not too pleased with me this morning.
Yeah, well, first off, he's not happy, doing the morning shift anyway. So, all right. Now, are you going to be able to place a bet during the show? Are we going to lose you for large portions of the show because you're at the roulette table?
The roulette does not start until around 11 a.m., so you won't get me with the roulette or the craps, but I'm within spitting distance of a blackjack table. So there is a good chance if I catch a heater during a break, you're going to miss me for 4 or 5 minutes, David.
Well, good thing Trent is ready back in our Southwest Florida studios. Listen, you two had to do the final hour on Friday. We could, believe me, we'll understand. Because if you're losing, you cut it short. I got to go back. I got to go do a show. If you're winning, it's like, hey, isn't your commercial break up? No, I'm good. It's good. They can do it without me. Listen, this is a big 24 hours for you. If I remember correctly, wasn't yesterday your house Christmas party?
Yeah, it was, an open house Christmas party, whatever you want to call it. Yes, we had our little event yesterday. Cooked for about 60 people.
Unbelievable. 60 people.
I didn't know that I knew that many people, David.
I think most of us listening right now are trying to figure out, do we know 60 people?
It's amazing how quickly it swells. It was about 15 couples, and they all have lots of kids. See, I just have the one. I mean, I have the two, but the one's grown and gone. I've got the one. These people were showing up with 3, 4, 5 kids. This was great for them. Kids went and played on the water slide, and we had adult conversation and watched football all afternoon.
How did the water slide go over? Were you able to pull it off? Did you
Big
set
hit.
it up correctly?
Big hit. Winner, chicken dinner. The kids had a great time.
Outstanding. Did you see any football at all?
I watched a lot of the 1 o'clock games. I did not see as much of the Bills and the Chiefs as I wanted to. I did see the end of the game and the blow up by Mr. Mahomes after the game and the post game. And it seems like he still hasn't calmed down yet.
Well, and not only that, Andy Reid dissing on the officials after the game. The Chiefs becoming a little unglued here.
Well, what do they want? They want you to not call a penalty when it's a penalty? I mean, he's very clearly lined up off sides, right?
He also never, if you take a look, never, ever looks over at the official. Not once. So who knows if the official would have moved them back. But he never gave the official the chance to do so. By the way, he has a teammate 6 feet to his right. His teammate could have looked over and said, step back, you're offsides. Move back a step. I mean, or he could have realized, man, I look pretty even with the football. In fact, I might even be ahead of it. Maybe I should take a half a step back. So, boy, the first time in this 6-year Chiefs run. Mahomes took over at the beginning of the 2018 season. This has been a 6-year Chiefs run. This is the first time they come off looking bad, looking like whiners.
And that's what they look like, David. I think that's a perfect analogy both Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, are whining over a call, like you said, that if he looks over, if he looks to either direction, he would realize that he was a foot offside.
Usually, by the way, the courtesy from the official is not whether you're offsides or not. It's whether you're technically on the line of scrimmage or not. Because you don't want to be just kind of like we argue about the right tackle, in which it's like, man, he looks as if he's just too far back. He's not on the line of scrimmage, and occasionally they call it. That's really what the courtesy is. The wide receiver lines up. He doesn't line up off sides. He usually lines up even with like the tackle. And he looks over at the official like, am I good? And the official will say, yeah, you're good. Or no. And tell them, move up, move back. And they get set. But listen, we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. How about we give it up to Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a second, huh? I mean, it was only their season, Mark. It's no big deal. It was only Todd Bowles' head coaching career that was on the line with under 3 minutes to play. I mean, it's no big deal.
And Todd Bowles' future as a coach, Baker Mayfield's future as a starting quarterback. I mean, there was nothing riding on that game at all for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No. Season over or first place? I mean, no big deal. Nothing to see here. Tell you what, if you're not a Baker Mayfield guy, I get it. He's giving you enough material for you to make your case with. Baker Mayfield, last half of that fourth quarter, try to tear that down. Try to tear that guy down. Those two drives back to back, I don't know. I think he can play a little bit.
75-yard drive, 12 plays to finish off the game for Baker Mayfield.
And moved it around. Big play to Evans, get him near midfield. Big play to Godwin to put him in tying scoring range. And then Cade Otton. Beautiful pass, too. Touchdown, 30 seconds to go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And just like that, Mark, we were calling it. Your first place Tampa Bay Bucks. Just win your 4 damn NFC South games the rest of the year. If that's how you post your 8 and 9, that's probably going to be good enough.
There's no doubt that 8 and 9 is going to be good enough, particularly as you've mentioned. They're winning all these division games.
There you go. There you go. If they beat the Saints at home and at Carolina, and that's their 8 and 9, that'll be a 5-1 division record. And I think their conference record will be better than Atlanta, which means either Atlanta or the Saints would have to get to 9. And since they've already beaten the Saints again, the Saints would have to win their other 3 remaining games. Hell, these teams aren't that good to do that. So that's the path for the Bucks. Be the second year in a row, post an 8 and 9, win the division, host either the Eagles or the Cowboys, and get beat.
Host a game that they'll not have any fans at, and it'll be more for the other team. But either way, they'll have a playoff game, David.
Mark, the Cowboys fans' money cashes just as easily as the Bucks fans. Absolutely. So you're going to be able to, let me get this straight. You're going to be able to bet the 2 Monday night football games, Packers -6.5 and Dolphins -13.5, right where you are.
Well, you can do it anywhere you are in the state of Florida on the app, but they'll have the kiosks open at 11 this morning.
Are you going to be like first in line, news cameras rolling?
Ooh, I probably could be.
Sure.
I probably could be.
Although there was a guy right before the show, he was talking your ear off. It sounds like he got there yesterday afternoon. He's so excited.
He's here for 2 days. He's in the hotel. He let me know that he hasn't been to bed yet, and he was just wanting to know when things opened up in the morning because he was heading back to his room.
He was going to catch a little Miller and Moulton on the app and then take a nap.
That was his plan.
Mark's fighting him for pole position in the betting line. Hey, Trent, did you give Mark some bets to place? I mean, this was your opportunity,
You don't want my picks right now. I mean, we started off hot last week, and so far, not so good. Although I did have Navy over 27.5. That
Oh,
Don't even get me started with that. That's how my weekend started with that bad beat.
That was unbelievable. And I remember I was talking myself through it. I was like, well, I mean, I thought the Army, quarterback was going to take a knee. And
no, they're on the 1 foot line. No, actually, and for those that are arguing, I'm thinking to myself, when they stopped them at the 1 foot line, I looked up, there were still 2 seconds left. I'm like, well, they're going to take the safety.
Yeah.
Because you could fumble the snap, or you could fumble the snap. Navy could recover for a touchdown, then they could tie it with a 2-point conversion. And so I'm thinking, no, they're going to go in the shotgun. Worst case scenario, it's a bad snap. It goes out the end zone. It's a safety.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, my goodness, they're going to take a safety here. Oh, nothing to see here. 17-9, that's 26. 17-11, that's 28. The over-under all week was either 27 or 27.5.
That is the definition of a bad beat, David.
Oh, it's got to be top 5 beat of the year right now.
You know you're not going to have a good weekend betting-wise when that's your first bet of the weekend.
That was the only difference between Miller and Moulton in our weeks. Neither one of us had a good week, but I finished a game ahead of Mark because, well, I got the safety and he was victimized by it. Miller and Moulton. We are live at New York City in the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. That's how we roll.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, David, you're back in New York already, I assume?
Yeah.
Have you seen Mom yet or not yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Saw Mom Friday night.
Great.
Late Friday afternoon, Friday night. And I drove up and back on Saturday. I drove from Jersey to Providence. And then
how long did that take you?
about 3:15. It's basically Atlanta to Knoxville.
Okay.
So
could be worse.
Oh yeah. I've done a lot worse.
Is it bad when I turn the mic on and off, Trent?
It's
with the crowd
noticeable.
Is it noticeable?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like white noise behind you, you know?
It's a lot easier to hear you guys when I'm muting the mic.
Yeah, if you want to finagle it the whole time, go for it. I mean, if that's easier for you, like if it makes it easier on you, I guess.
Can you get it any louder back in my headsets, Trent?
I don't think so, because then that would turn it would turn it way up for David too, and it would
Gotcha.
turn
Well, no, I can adjust it on my end.
like I don't know how to. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Do you want to try? Because Trent, I think I can adjust it on my end.
Well, the only thing I can turn your levels up. I can't turn the return. You know what I mean? Because it's not on my end.
Got it.
And at that point, it would just be jacking up the feed.
This mic just picks up everything.
Is it the earbuds you have in?
No, it's not the earbuds. It's the mic.
Okay, so you have a mic in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, Mark, though, in a way, if you're going to be turning it, down and up or on and off, when you turn it on, that's a cue like you're going to want to talk. So, in a way, that'll be good.
So, guy that was at the party, friend of mine, is trying to get me to go to the Dolphins game tonight. He's been invited to a suite. There's an extra ticket. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off.
Oof, my God. You'll get home at 2?
What's that?
You'll get home at 2? I mean, you'd probably have to leave mid-fourth quarter. You'd probably have to get out.
Yeah, and I don't have that choice because I wouldn't be driving. I wouldn't be in charge.
Yeah. Oof. Oofta.
Hey, Mark, if you go to StreamYard and you go on the bottom to settings, and then you click audio, there is an option that says reduce mic background noise. I don't know if that would help. Who knows how much that actually would help, but there is a setting.
I see it.
There's also echo cancellation. I don't know if that's already on for you.
No, it's not.
Just a couple of things to try, I guess.
I turned the white noise or the noise one on. I don't see how it helps.
It sounds better on our end.
Yeah, I will say there's less.
I hear you guys a little better, so maybe it's working.
Yeah, I mean it definitely deafens the background noise.
So every time we come back from break, I'll do my thing and then I'll throw it to you and you plug why it is you're there, okay?
All right.
Because that's why we're there.
Mark, the only other thing, sorry to keep bugging you, is maybe bring the mic closer to you now that it's kind of quieter. You know what I mean?
No, I will when I speak.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, we're back in about 10 seconds.
You know what, Trent? Today, the time cues are fantastic.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton. At 2 different locations. Well, we're normally 2 different locations. But no, we're both out and about. Neither one of us are home. I'm in New York City. One of 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Giants hosting the Packers. Well, Mark's halfway to the other Monday Night Football game, but that's not why he's where he's at. Where are you again?
I'm at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee, and this morning they are opening up their craps and roulette and retail sports betting here. Jimmy Johnson will be here. Edgerrin James will be here. Tito Ortiz will be here, among others. Big day at the Seminole Casino. Hotel in Immokalee as the first full day of craps, roulette, and retail sports betting begins here in Southwest Florida. They open the retail sports betting in Hollywood on the 8th, in Tampa or on the 9th. I think I had their 7th and 8th, I believe, last Thursday and Friday. And then today they open in Immokalee.
Edge coming home.
Yeah.
Conquering hero. Hey, a couple Hall of Famers there, at least football Hall of Famers. Is Tito in his Hall of Fame?
What was that again, David? They're starting to set up around me, and sometimes when that happens, it gets a little noisy.
I understand. Well, Edge and Jimmy Johnson are in their respective Halls of Fame. Is Tito in his?
I don't know.
I was going to say, because if so, that's 3 Hall of Famers, but it's at least 2. It's at least 2. And Mark Miller out and about. He's already getting hit up for free T-shirts. Got any T-shirts? It's like,
what are you giving away? What are you doing here? What do you have for me?
Right. By the way, we have a question. Is it live croupier or is it mechanical? Apparently, you have to find that answer out. It's a big question in the Twitch chat room. Is it live or is it mechanical? You don't have to find it out right this second, but apparently before the end of the show. So it was almost a spectacular day for the Dolphins. Almost spectacular. And then the Ravens win in overtime, and Buffalo holds on at the end when it looks like they're about to lose. I mean, it felt like the Dolphins were inches away from being the 1 seed, if you know what I mean, being in places they haven't been in 30 years in the standings. But Baltimore and Buffalo both said, not so fast, my friend.
Well, would you want Buffalo to win or lose, though? I mean, because I think with Kansas City losing, that you and I have talked about this, for the Dolphins to get the 1 seed, I thought they needed another loss for Kansas City.
And they got it. But you do know what this does, though. Yes, it was good news either way. But, Mark, now the Bills are alive. They're alive. And that's scary to Dolphin.
And it should be, because they've owned the Dolphins in recent times. It's a matchup that doesn't go well for the Dolphins. I still think that the division's theirs. But it means that the last game of the season is going to have great meaning for the Bills.
And the Dolphins, if they're not the 1 seed, let's say they're the 2, they may be playing the Bills the final game of the season to prevent themselves from playing the Bills again the very next week. They see, that to me was the danger of the Bills winning. It's like people have no problem at Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Houston, Cleveland. If they're 5, 6, or 7 seeds, nobody fears any of them. But let's face it, the Bengals are a live wire because obviously the team's talented and their backup quarterback's not playing like a backup. But the livest wire, Mark, is Buffalo.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And yesterday proved that, David. I mean, if anything, that's what yesterday showed you, is that Buffalo's alive, that when they play against the best teams, they're not intimidated by them. And they showed a little finishing power yesterday, albeit getting a call in their favor certainly helped.
Okay, can we, and I know we briefly mentioned it in our first segment, but can we just once and for all, you okay with the call, yes or no?
I'm okay with it. He was offside by 6-8 inches. It wasn't close.
I'm okay with it too, because, and listen, we've joked about this and we've been serious about this before in various sports, unwritten rules. And that's basically what the Chiefs are losing their mind over. That it's an unwritten rule that essentially the side judge, or the head linesman, they get you on sides. Well, Tony's got to look at them to then get a signal as to whether he's offsides or not. He never looked at the official. Look at the tape again. Tony never looks at the camera. The camera's on the Chiefs' side. Never mind the fact, yes, it's the responsibility of the player, but, the left tackle even, he didn't realize that Tony was offsides? Hell, he was ahead of him. The Chiefs' sideline didn't know he was offsides? I mean, Andy Reid or somebody couldn't yell at him and say, hey, step back. You're offside.
That's a great point, David. They seem to want the officials to either not call it or to correct him when he didn't look in, but there's 40-odd guys plus coaches on the sidelines that didn't yell to get back a step.
So I think it's a bad look for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have not had many bad looks, Mark, in the last 6 years. And it is a shame in that, boy, it was a staggeringly remarkable play by Kelsey. I mean, he's going into the Hall of Fame, Mark, and it might very well have been the play we remember him by when he goes into the Hall of Fame is what it negated. It was tremendous.
But it was a penalty.
Correct.
There have been a lot of great plays over the years, David, that have been negated by penalty. I don't know why the Chiefs feel that they need the additional help of the officials to do something as simple as line up when they didn't even inquire about it. And I think that's the point that, you've made a couple of times here, is that Tony's got to look for the help to get the help.
In my local television days, I was in the upper Midwest working in Fargo, and there was a small town in Minnesota called Hawley, Hawley. And they would play the state semifinals and championships in the then Metrodome. And Hawley's in the state final. And the wide receiver with 2 minutes to go in the game lines up, looks over at the official, and says, "Am I good?" And the official doesn't say anything. The kid assumed he was good. They drop back. They throw a 79-yard touchdown. The official threw the flag for illegal formation. All right. Now, that's something that the folks in Hawley are going to take with them for 30 years. That's legitimate. This is not. This is not. Tony screwed up. The Chiefs are coming off like whiners.
And it's not on Mahomes to line up all of his players. He can't see from where he's at if a guy's a foot offside or 6 inches offside. It's the player's job, and it's the player's job to ask the official, am I good? And like David said, usually my understanding was most of the time that's done to find if you're basically on the line of scrimmage to lock down that last spot to make sure you're
right. That there's
from an eligibility standpoint.
Yes. That there's 7 men on the line and there's not 5 men in the backfield. That's usually what you're asking for. You're not asking if you're on sides or not. Nobody's as far up on the line as no offensive player lines up in the neutral zone. Tony was in the neutral zone. Hell, he was off sides. Good thing he's got that punt return in the Super Bowl, or otherwise they'd cut his ass. Miller and Moulton. The starting five is next. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Have a Molly Christmas, a Molly-made Christmas. Give your family a gift of a clean house. When you're looking for professional house cleaning services, you want to make sure that you find a team that can accommodate your budget, schedule, and cleaning preferences. Molly Maid is proud to provide thousands of families across the country with industry-leading services tailored to their specific needs. Call Molly Maid today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, Ambi and I love. Oh, you mean on the couch?
David, you should do the show from the couch. Just go.
Well, don't let something's going on for the first time in my life. My massage lady says that I got something which is causing me pain in parts of my body, and for the first time when I sleep, it's uncomfortable. And it's the middle of my back. It's very strange. I don't know what's going on. But I wake up and I'm not comfortable.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's too bad.
So that nice soft couch actually makes my back feel a lot better.
Well, go set up over there.
Paul, I believe so. I believe the Dolphins are on ESPN and the Packers Giants are on ABC. By the way, this is the NFL's doing. This is not ABC ESPN's doing. The NFL determines start times. So the fact that both these games are on at the same time, that is totally the NFL's doing.
Do we have any idea why they're doing this?
We think it's an experiment. This is the third doubleheader of the year, and they've had different start times for all three. And I think they're just trying to figure out what works best and what doesn't. Why are there 2 Monday night games? The National Football League. And very quickly, here's why. The last time this was done, there was a game at 7 and 8, 7:15, 8:15, whatever. But the early game was New Orleans at Carolina. Well, if that game was 1 o'clock Sunday on Fox, do you know how many people would have seen that game? I don't know if 1 million people viewed that game. That game would have only been shown in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Louisiana. That's it. So let's just say 1 million people watch. Say 1.5 million people watch. Tops. Now, by putting it on ESPN2 and showing it to the country, you know how many people watched? 6 million. Meanwhile, the other game did basically the audience it normally would do. So we all hate it. I haven't heard one person who likes this. But the fact of the matter is that the NFL got about 5 million more eyeballs on the Saints and the Panthers than they would have otherwise. And it's a way to get more money out of ABC, ESPN. Yeah, I'm with you, Johnny Fingerlegs.
Just checking everything out. Calm before the storm in here.
Looks nice and festive.
Well, they didn't have it in the first half. They had like 80 total yards in the first half. 4 of their 6 drives went for 1 yard or less.
Here we go.
Yeah, the second half was an out-of-body experience.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Pat Kirwan is going to join us today. With the weather in the Northeast, his flight schedules got changed, and so Pat can't do tomorrow, but he said, hey, I'm available Monday. We said, well, then you're coming on at 8 o'clock, so you got Pat Kirwan to look forward to in a little over an hour and 20 minutes. I'm in Lower Manhattan, getting ready for Monday Night Football. Giants hosting the Packers. Mark could sell it that he's at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee getting ready for Monday Night Football, the Dolphins hosting the Titans, but that's not why you're there.
The retail sports books are opening today. The craps and roulette table for the first time ever are opening up today around 11 o'clock. Their big event starts about 10:15. Hall of Famers Jimmy Johnson, Edger and James, Tito Ortiz all on hand, so it's going to be a great day here at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee.
And this is like capping off. This is a week-long celebration that started late last week, right? Tampa and Hollywood, they've done this. Now it's Immokalee's turn. They got 6 of these suckers around the state. Are you going to hit all 6, by the way?
I'm going to just stick to one.
You sure?
I'm just going to stick to one. Yeah, I haven't been to the Hard Rock in Miami in forever. So maybe I'll take the game in tonight and hit that up before the game.
I'll tell you what. I'll contribute to the cause for you to do the show Monday live from Immokalee and live Tuesday from Hollywood, because you'll need it for the rest of the week. In fact, while you do it, you better hit them up for rooms, because I don't think your wife's going to let you come home for the rest of the week if you do that. But hey, Mark, there were other things that took place this weekend that you may have missed, especially you, because you had a party for 143 people yesterday at your house. So how about if I get you caught up to date on what you missed?
I love it. Let's do it.
Time now
The
for
Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, we'll only go back to yesterday afternoon first. We'll just take care of the NFL. How about Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks? He hits Cade Otton, 11-yard touchdown with 31 seconds left. Thank goodness there was only 31 seconds left, because if they had left Atlanta the same amount of time they left Houston, they might have lost. But anyway, Tampa Bay 29-25 in Atlanta over the Falcons, and now the Bucks are in first place in the NFC South. It's a 3-way tie, but between division record and conference record, they've got the tiebreak. How about that? Saints beat Carolina 28-6. Listen, the Saints are not that good. They had 207 total yards in this game. Carolina ran 27 more plays than the Saints did. Carolina nearly rushed for more yards than the Saints had total. And yet the Saints won 28-6. A strange game. And Derek Carr does not look good. But it's okay. That head coach hates Jameis so much, he'll just leave Derek Carr out there, even looking the way he is. Joe Flacco threw 3 touchdowns. The Jacksonville defense in the last 7 days has been lit up by Jake Browning and 84-year-old Joe Flacco. 31-27, Browns over the Jags. They're both 8-5. Trevor played, threw 3 interceptions. Jags, however, still have a 1-game lead in the South over Houston and Indianapolis, because they both lost on the road. Jets beat Houston 30-6. C.J. Stroud with a concussion. Bengals all over the Colts 34-14. Both teams are 7-6. Browning 275 and 2 scores. You can put a fork in the Chargers if you hadn't already. Denver beat them to improve to 7-6, 24-7. Russ with 2 touchdowns, and Herbert broke the index finger on his throwing hand. So I don't know if we'll see him much for the rest of the year. The Ravens in overtime get a punt return, 76 yards for a score to beat the Rams 37-31. Baltimore's 10-3. Dolphins will be 10-3 if they win later tonight. Rams fall to 6-7. Buffalo improves to 7-6. They beat the Chiefs 20-17. A Tyler Bass field goal with under 2 minutes to go. The difference. Kansas City falls to 8-5. The Chiefs right now are the 3 seed. Remember, Mahomes has never had a road playoff game. And Dallas whooped up on Philly last night. Dak threw touchdowns. He said after the game, if I played well today, we would have hung 50 on them. 33-13 Cowboys. Both teams are 10-3. Today, the Cowboys are in first in the East. It's because their division record's 4-1. Phillies is 3-1. If the Eagles win out, they win the East because they'll have a better conference record than Dallas. Niners beat the Seahawks 28-16. Right now, the Niners are the 1 seed in the NFC. They win out. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Santa Clara. Seahawks have lost 4 in a row. First time in Pete Carroll's NFL career as a head coach that he's lost 4 in a row. And scoreless going to the 4th. Iowa kicked a field goal to beat Nebraska. I mean, the Vikings beat the Raiders 3-0. Nick Mullins had to come off the bench for Minnesota to lead the drive. The Vikings improved to 7-6. And sorry, Trent, I saved it for last. The Lions are struggling here, and the Bears have won 3 of 4. And remember, the one they didn't win was the 2 touchdown lead they blew late to the Lions. 28-13 Bears. Lions are 9-4. They were shut out in the second half. 2 Monday Night Football games. Tennessee's at Miami. Dolphins are a 13.5-point favorite. By the way, speaking of Tennessee, did you hear the news yesterday? Former longtime Tennessee Titan Frank Wycheck died over the weekend suddenly at the age of 52. They think he fell in his Chattanooga home on Saturday, and there was no one at home with him, and so he didn't get medical care for hours, and he died. He, of course, best known for being the guy who threw the lateral, although many of us think it was a forward pass, but the Music City Miracle, it was Wycheck who fielded the squib kick, ran up to the 26-yard line, and then turned and threw across the field. The other Monday Night Football game, Giants hosting the Packers, who have won 3 in a row, and Green Bay's a 6.5-point road favorite. By the way, the NFL is the reason that there are 2 games on Monday and at the same time. It's not ABC and ESPN's doing. This is the NFL's doing. College football, Jaden Daniels on Saturday night won the Heisman. Florida State's Jordan Travis finished 5th. And Mark, I don't know if you heard, but the head coach at North Dakota State, guy's won a few national championships. Yeah, and they're in the semifinals, by the way, trying to win another one. Yeah, he's leaving to go become the linebackers coach at USC. He's making a little under $400,000 in Fargo. Needless to say, Lincoln Riley said, well, hell, I can double that.
To be the linebackers coach.
Correct. Not even the defensive coordinator.
Right.
No, they stole that guy from across town, UCLA. So, yeah. College hoops. Bronny James finally played. Nearly 5 months after he collapsed with a heart ailment. He played 17 minutes, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a hellacious block. I mean, a block actually that looked an awful lot like his dad's block in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. It was spectacular. But USC blew a 15-point halftime lead and lost at home in overtime to Long Beach State. By the way, the Canes got whooped yesterday by Colorado. Excuse me. 90-63. 15th ranked Canes got beat. Florida State on Saturday, Mark, got whooped by South Florida in the Orange Bowl Classic. That's a big win for the first-year coach for the Bulls. UCF lost to Ole Miss yesterday, 70-68. The Gators beat Richmond on Saturday. Women's hoops yesterday, Florida State lost to UCLA. UCLA is the second-ranked team in the country. FGCU lost to Duke by 19. South Florida, a winner. Florida, a loser. Here's what you need to know. WNBA held their draft yesterday. Indiana got the number 1 pick. So Caitlin Clark's going to be playing her pro ball in Indiana. Hey, Mark, did you hear how much money Ohtani got on Saturday?
Yeah, I did, David. A cool $700 million.
Mark, I don't want to say it's a lot of money, but John Rahm said, holy blank, that's a lot of money.
David, the Saudis said it's a lot of money. That's how much money it is.
Reports are about a third of the money is deferred, though, over 10 years. 10 years, $700 million, and like 250 of it's deferred. So, I mean, how much is it really worth? You throw in the California taxes. I mean, yeah, it's $700 million over 10 years. Marlins acquired Cleveland catcher Christian Betancourt for cash. Excuse me. And what's interesting about that, guys, is I didn't think the Marlins had cash. Lakers won the in-season tournament, Trent. Did you watch?
Of course.
What do you mean, of course?
The first ever NBA in-season tournament, and the greatest player of my generation wins it. Fitting.
Trent, you're 24 years old. It's Saturday night. I thought you had a life. Instead, you stayed home. You watched the Lakers and the Pacers, for goodness sake.
Everyone and their mother was watching.
Right. NHL yesterday, Panthers beat Columbus 5-2. Rangers over the Kings 4-1. Edmonton's won 7 in a row, Mark. That fire and the coach maneuvers worked. They beat the Devils 4-1. And in your backyard, Mark, in Naples, Lydia Ko and Jason Day won the Grant Thornton Invitational. The LPGA and PGA pros raved about the experience, and apparently a lot of people want to get involved in that tournament. 16 twosomes. I'll be curious if they expand it. That's how popular it seems to be. And at 10 minutes before the hour, that was
Trent?
Yeah, I think he's reading his phone.
Yes, he is.
Plus, he doesn't have his headphones on.
It's tough to hit that button when you don't have your headsets on.
When you don't have your headsets on, it's tough to hear the fact that I said in 10 minutes before the hour, that was
The Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I can understand if you were in the studio with him not paying attention, zoning out, taking the headphones off, reading his phone. Okay. But you're in Immokalee and I'm in New York City and he takes his headphones off.
Was getting the play of the day ready. I apologize. I promise you, I swear to God, that is what I was doing. But, and David,
sure?
That was a little shorter than it typically is because we still have like 2.5 minutes till the break.
That's true.
I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying.
It sounded like an excuse. Okay, you're like the Chiefs. I'm not
I was
whining.
going to say, that's a little Patrick Mahomes right there, wasn't it?
Right. I'm not whining, but I'm whining.
Fair enough. I was lined up off sides. I wanted to get away with it. I thought I could get away with it. I'm a 2-time champ.
Yeah, but one of them's the in-season tournament, and that doesn't count. I do have to give Adam Silver credit. When he brings LeBron over and he's giving him the in-season tournament trophy, he hands it to him and he says, now this does not come with an NBA franchise. Because they're in Vegas. Line. LeBron has said he wants to own the team and he wants to own them in Vegas. Right. So
that's a great line.
That is.
Hey, people really like this tournament. It doesn't do anything. An in-season tournament doesn't do anything for me, but that's not who they were trying to get. And the numbers were up. People watched. People were interested in the bad courts. So, I mean, I think the tournament worked, David. We talked about it a hell of a lot more than I think we ever would have if it was regular season basketball. in November and early December. So I have to give this a thumbs up from the standpoint of getting what they wanted out of this tournament.
If this really takes hold in the next couple years, do you see baseball and or hockey doing it?
Interesting. Baseball, no, because they won't copy anything from the NBA. It would be too embarrassing for them. But hockey might.
I mean, baseball's got the longest season, the most games. If anybody could do an in-season tournament, it could be baseball, right?
Yes, but do you really see, and I know, man, but I just don't see that sport doing something gimmicky like that. I just don't see it happening.
I'll tell you what, though, Manfred seems willing to try anything. So, and he got the last thing he tried right, that's for sure. The whole pitch clocks worked great. So he's got a couple mulligans he can use, Mark, after the whole pitch clock thing.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. You're right. That was a huge success. Eyes were on baseball, but eyes were on hoop in November and December. So I give Adam Silver a lot of credit for this tournament. The fact that we talked about it a couple times. We don't ever talk NBA really before the first of the year. And we were talking about it. Trent was watching it. I call it a success. I'm at the casino in Immokalee, the Seminole Casino. They're opening their retail sports book and craps and roulette at 11 this morning.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning.
conference record, Ambient.
Ambient, the Steelers and Colts are both 5-4 in conference. Houston's 4-4. You're 4-5. So you're a game back in conference record. That's why you're the 9 seed. Ambient, there's two factors at work here. First is you've got three teams at 7 and you have two teams at 7 and 6 in the North. The first thing they do is they figure out who's ahead of who in the division. And it's the same in the South. And right now, the Colts are ahead of the Texans because the Colts have a better division record. So the first thing they do is they figure out where you are in your division. Then they line you up by conference accordingly. You know, so Houston's 8th. Denver has to be behind Houston. Okay, not only because their conference record's half a game worse, but they just lost to them head-to-head. Cincinnati's ahead of Buffalo, even though Cincinnati has a worse conference record. Why? Because they beat them head-to-head. That's why Buffalo's in a tough spot. Below 500 conference record. They've lost to Denver. They lost to Cincinnati.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm in Lower Manhattan. Giants hosting the Packers, one of 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. That's not the one most of us listening are interested in. Dolphins, undefeated at home. One of 2 undefeated teams at home this year in the league. The other, the Dallas Cowboys. They looked pretty damn good last night. That's 5 in a row for them. But the Dolphins, 13.5-point favorites against the 4-8 Titans. This is a 3-game homestand for the Dolphins. They're 1-0. They got the Titans, and they got the Jets. Huh? How about that? Titans, Jets, and then what? Cowboys? 3 in a row at home. Bada bing, bada boom.
And will they be playing for the number 1 seed throughout? Can they keep this going forward and, quite frankly, not screw it up?
Well, we lined this out a few weeks ago. We saw this 4 or 5 game stretch coming. They lost to the Chiefs to fall to 6-3, and we said, well, they got 5 games all against teams with losing records here. What if they win all 5? Well, so far they're 3-0. And they got the Titans and the Jets both at home. So they're already a 12-point favorite next week. They're a 13.5-point favorite tonight. Biggest favorite on the board, I think, both weeks. I mean, just like that, you're 11-3. Most wins Buffalo can get to is 11. I mean, the division's all but yours. Never mind the fact you got a date at Baltimore right around New Year's, which looks like right now, Mark, Dolphins at Ravens. First off, can you believe, is that an AFC Championship game preview? And secondly, is the winner going to host it?
David, I believe with the Chiefs losing yesterday, that Baltimore-Miami game is going to be for the 1 seed. I thought Miami needed a little bit of space. They needed a little bit of room, and Kansas City provided just enough yesterday. So I think the Dolphins, and I do think it'll end up being the Ravens will be the one. I think the Dolphins' schedule is just so difficult the rest of the way. I have difficulty think that they can run the table, and they probably need to.
Well, they can lose one, but it can't be to the Ravens, in theory, if you're trying to be the one. I mean, they need to be, if they win these next two, and then you got Dallas, you got Baltimore, and because here's the other thing that works in the Dolphins' favor, Mark. Christmas Day, the Ravens are in San Francisco. So if you're a Dolphin fan, you're like, listen, if we can win the Baltimore game and get to 12, even if we lose to Dallas and Buffalo, we post 12-5. Well, if San Francisco takes care of business and we take care of business, then the only way we're not the 1 seed is if the Chiefs win out. If you know what I mean. I mean, if you're the Dolphins, you're like, listen, if we got 3 wins left, believe it or not, the next 2 weeks in Baltimore, and I'll take my chances that that's good enough for the 1.
We thought that Miami, Baltimore, whomever needed another Kansas City loss, that it would be too difficult to just be able to run the table and keep Kansas City away from the 1. Yesterday's loss is that gain that either Baltimore or Miami needed. You are right there, David. That gives them a little bit of a breather.
Now, 3 of the 4 games remaining for the Chiefs are against teams with losing records. I mean, at New England, hosting the Raiders, at the Chargers, and it could be the Chargers without Herbert. But they've got a New Year's Eve game in which they're hosting Cincinnati. And let's be honest right now, the Chiefs got an offensive problem. They ain't scoring more than 20 points consistently a game. I mean, if you're struggling to get to 20, 21, you're vulnerable. So, but the Chiefs will be favored in their last 4 games. So if you're trying to be the 1 seed, take Kansas City, put them up on the board at 12-5, and then it's up to you to beat it. Ravens are 10-3. Dolphins looking to get to 10-3 tonight. Hey, can I ask you, we got Pat Kirwan coming up in an hour, 55 minutes. We'll ask him a lot of these questions, but I'm going to ask you. You ready?
Of course I'm ready.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I mean, you're at a casino. There's people walking around. Every 17 seconds, somebody's asking you for a free T-shirt. The other person's saying, who are you and what are you doing here?
I've got a media badge now. I just have to show them.
Yes!
This is the first time I've ever really wanted one of these, David. I know you hate having them on, but you and I are 2 guys that get credentials and very rarely wear them when we get them.
Right.
But now I can just do this. I can just, for those listening, just put that credential in the air and show them that you belong here, and then everybody's good. What are you doing here? I've got one of these. That's all you need, David.
Okay, so listen, hold your media credential up and answer these questions. Hey, you're the Bears. Now what do you do? You've won 3 of 4. The quarterback's looking okay.
Looking just good enough
to
make you think you have a quarterback.
And the team is doing what you want to see your team do. Year 2, second half of the season, what are they doing? They're gelling. They're coming around. I mean, yeah, they're hurting their draft pick, but they've got Carolina's, remember. They're going to have the number 1
And there's
pick
no
in the
one
draft.
that can screw up that Carolina draft pick,
Right.
David. That is a god-awful football team.
So now I'm just taking your pulse today. I'm not asking you have to make a declarative, this is what we're going to do, but your gut feeling this morning, Mark, hold your credential up in the air. Okay. Are you going forward with Eberflus and Fields, and you know what? Maybe I'm just curious enough. I want to see how this thing plays out.
Put it this way, David. I'm not ready to make that decision today. They've done enough if I'm in the front office of saying, if this keeps on for the rest of the year, then maybe we don't have to draft a quarterback. Maybe we can trade that first pick, get even more capital. Maybe we can take Marvin Harrison with that first pick and really upset the apple cart.
You and Larry in our Twitch chat room who said draft Harrison and then the left tackle with wherever your pick ends up and call it a day. Wouldn't that be something, by the way? Then the Patriots right now with the second overall pick, they'd have their choice as to which quarterback they want. Speaking of the Patriots, quick sidebar. Did you see Belichick on game day?
I didn't. With the event at my house and things going on, I was not near a television at all on Saturday.
He was good. Okay. He got into it. All right. I don't know if he likes McAfee or McAfee loosened him up. But the other thing is that Belichick's got a lot of respect for Lee Corso. All right. Lee Corso coached at the Naval Academy. Okay. Belichick and Corso go back, to when his dad and all that. And so Belichick really has great respect for Corso as a coach. And McAfee loosened him up. Did you see the picture? Corso, of course, makes his pick and puts on the headgear. And as Corso puts on the headgear, Belichick has a 1962 Navy helmet, and he puts it on his head and pulls it down over him. So there's Corso with the mascot and Belichick with the face mask that's right in between his mouth and his nose.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay.
And I'm glad he was good. I'm glad people got to see a little different side of Belichick because he's obviously pretty cold towards the media, to say the very least. So to see, and like you talked about that NFL film special or that NFL Network special, he was terrific on.
Nominated for an Emmy. He was really good. I mean, it was his wheelhouse, but still, he can be entertaining when he wants to be. So anyway, he played the part. And the game was in Foxborough. We'll say New England officials said that there has never been a football game in which there was more demand for tickets than the Army-Navy game. All those AFC championship games at Foxborough, none of them had as high a secondary market price as trying to get tickets to Army-Navy on Saturday. And you're not going to believe this. There's only one event in the history of that stadium in 21 years in which tickets went for more money than Army-Navy on Saturday. Care to take a guess?
Taylor Swift.
There you go.
I didn't think it was that tough of a question, David. I really didn't. There's Army-Navy, David, and then there's a big show.
Exactly. All right. I wanted to put it in proper perspective for those that think that, maybe she's not the phenomenon that she is and the media is going a little crazy. No, actually, kind of a thing. Kind of a thing. We'll get back to football in a minute. Did you pay attention to the pursuit at the end of the week and all the betting that was following Ohtani and where it was he was going to sign?
Slightly.
So there was the plane that was leaving Anaheim late in the week and was going to Toronto, a private plane. News crews went to the airport to try to get a glimpse of it. News crews were waiting on the tarmac in Toronto when it landed. They were convinced it was Ohtani, and he was going to sign with the Jays. It was the guy from, the Mark Cuban show, Shark Tank. The guy on the far right, if you look at the panel, dark hair, Robert, like Isovic or something like that. Okay, I know that's not his name, but I got the Vic part right. Anyway, he's Canadian. It was him and his family. They got off the plane. There were news crews waiting for him. Okay, he joked.
Your wages accordingly.
He did. He joked. He said, "If any of you wants to offer my son $300 million, he'll sign right now."
a good line.
So what do you think? 10 years, 700 million. 700 million.
David, there's not much anymore that stops me in my tracks. Because you and I had this at 550, 600. We were well ahead of everybody else, and people told us we were nuts. Baseball people told us we were nuts for that number.
Correct.
And
we started the auction at 9 for 500.
Right. 700.
Correct.
I was floored. And I know some of it's deferred, and that makes it seem like it's less. It's still $700 million, right? That's what the contract reads?
Correct. It's fully guaranteed, by the way.
Exactly. Fully guaranteed.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Pat Kirwan in 45 minutes.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right, now you're talking my language, Greek God. Which one would I go for? Which one would you say? El Taquito or Lorenzo? Or Lozano's, rather? If you had to pick one.
And by the way, the reason that Joe and Troy were sent to Packers Giants is because the teams are named the Packers and the Giants. Trust me. We were all lobbying to be in Miami in mid-December instead of North Jersey. I told my mom, I miss you. I love you. Okay. But even I want to be at the Titans and the Dolphins. Unless we get assigned the Dolphins-Bills game for the regular season finale, we will have gone the whole year, Joe and Troy, and not seen the Dolphins. We haven't seen the Texans.
You may get a Dolphins playoff game.
True. Although here's the problem. Although we get a divisional round game, but the wild card game we figured out every year is going to have to be one of the 2 4-5 games. Because you have to have the 4-5 game has to be the Monday game. So, which right now means we'd be in either Jacksonville or Tampa. Yes, it's going to be windy and cold because it was 60 last night at one point here. And by the time they kick off tonight, it should be in the 30s.
Everything good? Everything's good. Yep. Thank you.
Tell them to get you some Lozanos.
I need a nap. That's what I need. I'm tired. I don't know how long I'll be out here after.
11 a.m.?
Maybe.
Get on the
10:01
news.
might be more like it.
Get on the news and go. Pack up. Get in line. Place your wagers. Get on the news. Hi, Mom. And then asleep by noon.
Morning.
Everybody raved about the job that New England and the Patriots did hosting Army Navy. Everybody.
Bam, I'm trying to keep, everything inside of me. What are you trying to get me to do? Throw up? Ask if they have any tuna mac.
I just had a $7 can of Pringles.
$7 at the hotel? Is that what it costs?
That's what it costs.
Wow.
So that's how much this soda costs.
You just put that on Gary's card?
Gary will be really upset. The funny thing is we still have the info for the director at Fox that we worked with, Rich Russo. And Joe Spotters and me want to try it once this year. We want to try to bill something to him and see if he gets it. He would laugh.
Put it on Troy's card. That'd be better.
No, that can come back and get us in trouble.
Here we
Rich Russo would just laugh hysterically if he got it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, Florida Sports Network.com. Thanks for being with us. I'm in New York City for Monday Night Football. I'm at the wrong game as far as I'm concerned. I want to be in Miami. I want to see the Dolphins up close and personal. Instead, I got, Tommy DeVito and the Packers and the Giants. I think Mark's heading to the Dolphins game. You're halfway there,
I'm close. I've been offered a ticket in a good seat, a seat that I would sit in, David. You know the sports snob that I am, but I was offered a ticket yesterday, and I've got to figure out if I can pawn my daughter off on my mother for this evening. And if that's the case, I may head to Miami.
Okay. All right. You may need a nap.
Oh, there's no doubt that a nap's coming. A big nap, a big fat nap is coming at some point around noontime today. After I take the casino for all their money at the craps table around 11 a.m. when they get that sucker open.
You're going hard for 20 minutes, okay? Win, lose, or draw, aren't you?
You got that right. I'm hitting the ATM right after the show. I'm going to the craps table. We're going to find out whether or not I'm taking a limo to the game or I'm curled up in a ball on my couch by myself, David.
You, Jimmy Johnson, Edgerrin James, okay, you're going at it hard at about 11 to 11:20 is what you're saying.
It's perfect for me.
I like it. So what's your big takeaway? We got Pat Kirwan coming up, by the way. He's joining us today instead of tomorrow. It's a logistics thing. He's coming up in about 35 minutes' time. Play of the day coming up in a handful of minutes. Mark, what's your big takeaway from this NFL week thus far?
Well, David, is that to me, there are just barely a handful of good teams, and the rest we don't know about. And I'm still trying to, a team like Miami, who's not beaten anyone all year, how good are they? Do we really know? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. We're pretty confident that San Francisco is a really good football team. Right now, Dallas looks like they're playing at a high level. Other than that, who's out there playing at a high level right now? Or are we just with a lot of mediocre teams that beat up on bad football teams?
Well, do you consider the Dolphins a good team? I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, let's just say they take care of business these next two games, 13.5-point, 12-point favorites. Okay, great. They're 11-3. Have they beaten anyone with a winning record?
No.
And now they're going to play Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo. So they could be the 1 seed, and you still have a question mark next to them. Are you sold on Baltimore?
Yes, more than I am on Miami because there's the longevity of them doing it for multiple years. And I know Lamar's been hurt, so it's not been finished. But when he's been there, we've watched this. They've been really good.
I do just have to say this. I saw a decent amount of the Rams-Ravens yesterday. Stafford was good. Let me tell you, we've talked at length about the Ravens' dominance over NFC teams. Mark, the Rams went in there. That was a heavyweight fight. They didn't give an inch to the Ravens yesterday, and Stafford was terrific.
And what was the stat that we got before the game? It was the first time Stafford had played in the rain in like
6 years.
5 years, 6 years, something like that.
2017 apparently was the last time he had played in the rain. Yeah. Well, think about it. The two places he's called home as a pro have both been essentially indoors. I know SoFi, open air, but come on, they got a roof on the place, and they very rarely open it. So, yeah, doesn't play in a lot of bad weather. 6 years since he played in rain. His receivers are pretty good too, though. Let me tell you. But that was a fun game. Second punt return walk-off we've had this year. First Monday nighter of the year, Bills-Jets. Jets won it on a walk-off punt return. And then Ravens-Rams take it to the house in overtime for the win. That's pretty exciting stuff.
It really is. And what a win for Baltimore. As you mentioned earlier in the show, it was an opportunity there. It looked as if the Dolphins were going to have an unbelievable day with both Kansas City and Baltimore losing, but Baltimore able to get the victory against the Rams, and they are the 1 seed for the moment in the AFC.
In the NFC, sorry, Detroit. Do we have to take Detroit off the list now?
How do you take that team seriously? I'm not kidding here. As a good football team, come on.
Well, it was an hour and a half ago, we thought they were a good, solid football team. We didn't think that they could go toe-to-toe with the Niners or the Eagles or the Cowboys, but they have Dallas on the schedule coming up December 30th. We thought that would let us know whether or not they actually have a puncher's chance if they make it to the second round of the playoffs. Now, I mean, I hate to say this, but Minnesota won to get to 7-6. They're within 2 games of Detroit, and they played 2 more times against Detroit. And the Packers could win their 4th in a row tonight. They're favored to do so and get within 2 games of Detroit.
Are you taking the X off of the Lions for the division, David?
No, I'm stubborn, and no, absolutely not. No. But we did declare both the Jags and the Lions division champions. And right now, the Jags and the Lions, they're making us sweat.
It's the curse of Miller and Moulton.
Really? You're blaming the Lions' ineptitude on Miller and Moulton?
I am not. I'm not. I'm simply referring to the fact that you put the X next to those guys a little too early in the Jaguars, perhaps. I still think it's going to happen, I'm just saying.
Mark, the Lions have 4 games left. They're all against teams with a winning record. Denver, the Vikings twice, and the Cowboys.
They'll win one. They'll beat Minnesota once.
Well, will that be good enough?
I think so.
They're going to beat Denver at home on Saturday. Totally. 100%. Coming off a loss at home in Detroit in primetime Saturday night. Come on.
He's just doing this to talk himself into it. It's really cute. They're cute at that age, David. They're really cute at that age.
Remember on Tuesday last week, he said, hey, guys, bet the Pistons. They're at home. As if that makes a difference. Okay.
It was virtually a pick 'em, so Vegas kind of agreed with me. It was a 1-point spread for Memphis. Come on.
No, that was to get suckers like you to go, I think tonight's the night for Detroit.
I don't know when they win their next game. I looked at the schedule.
Neither do they. In fact, I think we're all curious, is it going to be in 2023?
No.
All right. Take care of business. Here we go. Play of the day. Can't wait. What do we got here?
Some things are bigger than sports. And David, you talked about it in your starting 5, but Bronny James collapsed with a cardiac arrest on July 24th. 4.5 months later, he's cleared to hoop again. In less than 24 hours after his dad won the in-season tournament MVP, he proved to be a little chip off the old block with this play.
Hornery pass inside, taken away.
Hornery should have looked opposite wing on that one.
Oh, blocked by Bronny.
The signature chase down block. Bronny James coming off the bench for USC. 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 16 minutes of action. And whether you're a LeBron guy or not, it's great to see the kid get back on the court after that health scare. USC, of course, outscored by 15 in the second half. Loses 84-79 in overtime to Long Beach State. 5-5 on the season. Somewhat disappointing, but nonetheless, good to see Bronny James back out there, and there's your play of the day.
Our play of the day brought to you by Molly Maid of Fort Myers. Our play of the day has a sponsor.
What?
Yeah, look at that. Call Molly Maid 239-744-5839. 239-744-5839 or mollymaid.com/Fort Myers. FT Myers, that is, if you want to get the best house cleaning service on the planet.
So Bronny James cleaning up the Trojans' mess there on defense, and Molly Maid with the play of the day.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Maybe an espresso, Johnny Mac. I don't need the martini part of it. I had enough vodka yesterday.
So yesterday I was at Rusty's for the Lions game, and I saw this bartender. She was filling up a flight of Red Bull that she punched holes in each Red Bull can and poured vodka into each one. So she was handing out shotgun Red Bull vodkas. I had never seen that before. People are trying to die doing that. Do you guys give the Broncos any chance to catch the Chiefs?
No, for this reason. Chiefs own the tiebreaker. The Broncos have 2 division losses. Chiefs only have 1. All right. It's difficult to imagine the Chiefs losing more than 1 game. I think it'd be very difficult. I think Denver is really a game and a half behind the Chiefs with 4 to play. I'd be curious to know if the Chiefs were to lose to either the Raiders or the Chargers as their 1 loss and end up tied with Denver, then what's the tiebreaker situation?
Well, because their remaining schedule is Lions, Patriots, Chargers, Raiders.
Yeah, here's another reason why I think it's tough for Denver. Chiefs conference record 6-2, Denver's is 4-5. I think Denver has to finish ahead of the Chiefs to win the West. I don't think they'll win a tiebreaker. So they're not really a game back with 4 to play. They're a game and a half back.
Trent, how many games do the Lions win the rest of the season?
2. That's my honest opinion. I think they'll get to 11.
Well, whatever you do, don't lie. You said your honest opinion. That's what we're looking for, by the way.
I like a dishonest opinion.
Right.
I think they're beating the Broncos, and I think they'll beat the Vikings at least once. I actually think they could beat the Vikings twice easily, but I'll go with one. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour, and Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. Chris Landry will join us after Christmas. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour, which means he will not be joining us tomorrow. Pat's busy, had to change plans. So Pat Kirwan in a little more than 20 minutes' time. Mark is a greeter at the casino. That's what I'm seeing like during commercial breaks. Like people are coming up to you, you're answering questions. I mean, do you know the answers or are you making them up?
Believe it or not, because this is a big event, most people that are coming up to me are casino employees asking if I'm okay. Is everything okay? I have been asked, is everything okay? 74 times already this morning.
Do you hold up a sign?
They are all out. I mean, they are cleaning. I mean, they are ready for this. The big opening of the craps and roulette. They've got a big gala this early this morning with a bunch of dignitaries here and a reception, and the reception's going to go on right behind me. So the waitress is cleaning glasses, making sure there's no water stains on them. I mean, this is I've had more cleaning crews go by. Kind of wild to be at the casino this early in the morning. This is a new one for me. I've left some casinos about this time. I've never shown up at one at 5 in the morning before.
So this is a week-long celebration. It started late last week for the Seminole casinos in Tampa, Hollywood, now the grand opening, if you will, in Immokalee. And obviously the app's still working, and the sports books are wide open, roulette tables and craps and what have you. And, well, we'll see how long, things stay status quo in 2024, with the whole court case and what have you. But for right now, it is a celebration. We'll get back to that in a moment. All right. Humor me. You do it every day. Okay. This is the segment for a few minutes. I want you to humor me. Are you ready?
Okay.
The playoffs started today.
There it is.
Baltimore would be the 1 seed, but that's only because the Dolphins have yet to play tonight. If the Dolphins win tonight and they're 2-touchdown favorites, Miami would move back and be the 1. KC, the 3, Jacksonville, the 4. Your wild cards in the AFC at this moment, hell, Cleveland at 8-5 is the first wild card. Joe Flacco on fire. Pittsburgh and Indy holding down the final 2 wild cards, even though they both lost. Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, Buffalo, all tied for that final playoff spot. Mark, you have 11 teams with winning records in the AFC competing for 7 spots. It's 7-11, Mark, in the AFC.
And which team's going to get the Slurpee and make the playoffs, and which teams are going to get bounced? And you know that no one wants to see Buffalo. And if Cincinnati's going to play this way with their backup quarterback, that's a lot of weapons on that team. I mean, of the teams that you mentioned, those are the 2 scariest as far as sneaking in. And I don't know about doing damage, but certainly about Buffalo could do damage, but certainly disrupting the top teams.
Okay, here. We'll play a little game within a game. 6 teams in the AFC at 7-6. Rank them. You've got Pittsburgh, Indy, Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, Buffalo. Is Buffalo number 1?
Buffalo's number 1 to me.
Cincy 2?
Yes.
Even with Jake Browning?
With the weapons, I will put Cincy at 2.
Denver 3 or no? You're going to go Pittsburgh, Indy, Houston are the other 3.
Denver close over Houston.
Houston just beat them, but Stroud with a concussion yesterday. We'll see how long that plays out. Dolphin fans can certainly relate when their young quarterback suffered a concussion.
And the injured receiver for Houston makes a difference. They're a little more banged up than Denver is right now.
So you're going Denver 3, Houston 4. So then it's Indy or Pittsburgh.
Indy.
So of the 6 teams tied at 7-6, you have the least regard for Mitchell Trubisky's Pittsburgh Steelers.
Have you seen the Pittsburgh Steelers this year? They've lost back-to-back games to Arizona and New England. How can you possibly take that team with any seriousness right now?
Wow, you seem to be holding that against them, losing to back-to-back teams who had 2 wins. Okay, NFC.
I'm just curious, how would you rank them? How much differently would you rank them than when I rank them?
All right, I would stubbornly put Houston ahead of Denver because they beat them head-to-head. So I'd have Houston 3 and Denver 4. All right, although I do love my Minshew mania, but yesterday they were brought back down to earth. You know, the Colts are very hot and cold. Very hot and cold. Seems to be no in between with the Colts.
And they don't play a lot of defense in Indianapolis.
NFC. You only have 5 teams with a winning record. You got 11 teams with a winning record in the AFC. 5 teams with a winning record in the NFC. Could be 6 if the Packers do as expected and win tonight against the Giants. The Niners are the 1. If they win out, they're definitely the 1, by the way. That's not a 1, but no. Right now, the Niners are the 1. They'd own the tiebreaker, obviously, against the Cowboys or the Eagles if they finish tied with them because they beat them head-to-head. For the moment, Mark, Dallas is the 2, only because they're 4-1 in the division and the Eagles are 3-1. If Philly were to win out, and Philly's remaining 2 division games are both against the Giants, by the way. If Philly wins out and they're tied with Dallas, the Eagles are the NFC East champs. But technically today, Mark, Dallas is the 2. Detroit at 9-4, stumbling, bumbling around. They're the 3 seed. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the tiebreaker. The 3-way 6 and 7 tiebreaker to win the NFC South. They're the 4, Philly the 5, Minnesota the 6, and Green Bay the 7. And Green Bay's the 7 even if they win tonight. Vikings with a better division record, so the Vikings would be ahead of them in the wild card line. Okay, I'm looking here, and Mark, it gets interesting. If the Packers were to be upset tonight by the Giants, they would be 6 and 7 with the Rams and the Seahawks and the Falcons and the Saints. They'd also be 500 in conference, which is also where the Rams and the Seahawks are. So I think the Packers would still technically be the 7, but it would be close. So, by the way, of the 6 and 7 teams, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, the Rams, and the Seahawks. And if the Bears, by the way, had held on against Detroit 2 weeks ago and not blown that 2-touchdown lead, they'd be 6 and 7, but they're not. But of the 6 and 7s, Mark, in the NFC, Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, the Rams, and Seattle.
I'll take the Rams.
Okay.
Just based on the quarterback alone, David. I don't think, you look at those 6 and 7 teams. Do you trust any other quarterback more than you trust Matt Stafford?
No. The Seahawks have lost 4 in a row, and they host the Eagles next week. After that, they play 3 teams below 500 to end the season. We talked about this. We played the schedule game on this show a lot. And when the Seahawks were 6 and 3, we said they got a 5-game schedule coming up here in which we don't know how many times they're going to win. And then they got 3 games that they could easily win. And we said, don't laugh if the Seahawks go 9 and 8 and do it the hard way. And they're on the way to doing it the hard way.
And Pat Kirwan, who's coming up in a little while, predicted that would happen. Can I just share some numbers with you as to how good Dak Prescott's been playing?
Sure.
In his last 8 games, David, he's 7-1, 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's completed 69% of his passes over that time for 2,444 yards.
How many games?
8.
So that's 305 yards a game.
It is.
3 touchdowns a game. So 305, 3 scores, basically no picks.
And an interception every 4 games.
Huh. I don't know. It seems like right now, if they took a vote, he might be MVP.
Yes.
Well, he and they also are going to play some marquee games down the stretch here. They're in Buffalo this coming Sunday? Then they're going to have a game against the Dolphins. And then they're going to have a Saturday night primetime game on ABC against the Lions before the regular season finale against the Commanders. But he and their next 3 weeks, Mark, are all going to be featured national games.
David, if he wins all 3, I think you could hand him the MVP. It's Dallas after all.
Well, I agree with you. If they win all 3, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, I mean, come on now, 3. It's tough to find 3 teams with winning records in a row on a schedule. And they just beat the Eagles. I mean, it'd be a nice little stretch here he's throwing up on the board. Mark, there's going to be a lot. First off, they're already mounting to give it to someone on the Niners. They're trying to figure out, they're trying to push the Brock Purdy narrative for MVP.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get enough votes. I think there's too many people out there that just think it's a system, that he's playing very well, but because of all the weapons and the fact that when they lost a couple of those weapons, we saw a different Brock Purdy. I wouldn't vote for him, David. And I know the numbers are really impressive, but that's a team that is, to me, influencing what those numbers are. He's been great. He's not my MVP.
The Ravens are going to have high-profile games coming up against the Niners, the Dolphins. The final week of the year, they host the Steelers. I mean, can Lamar win his second? He's been pretty damn good. They have the best record in the AFC. Just saying. And how much of a shot do you give Tyreek Hill?
The same shot I give Dak if he goes through this stretch of games and continues to play at the level that he's been playing at. And it'll start tonight against a lesser opponent that he could have a huge game on Monday night in front of a national audience, David. So I think the hype train for Tyreek started, but I think it'll get really moving if he has a game tonight heading into their stretch of marquee games.
So Titans tonight, the Dolphins are on ESPN. Packers and Giants are on ABC. Dolphins on ESPN tonight. The games are on at the exact same time. Nobody likes it. It's the NFL's idea. They're doing it. Nobody knows why. We understand the whole doubleheader on Monday night, even though most people don't like it. It actually does result in more eyeballs on the 2 games than if they separated them and put the one at 1 o'clock on Sunday. But anyway, both games at the same time tonight. Dolphins on ESPN and the Packers and the Giants on ABC. But then the final 3 games of the year for Miami: Dallas, Baltimore, the Bills. Hey, we saw a wide receiver in college, Mark, just 3 years ago, win the Heisman on a national championship team, even though his quarterback was really good and was taken in the first round, and the wide receiver got more of the credit than the quarterback. I mean, the same thing, I think, could happen in Miami. Tyreek's getting more credit than Tua.
Don't you think I don't know. Put it this way. Where would they be without him? And I know you can't lose a quarterback, David. I get it. And so that's why quarterbacks get all the MVP awards. But if you take Tyreek Hill off of this Dolphins team, what are they without him?
Also, what would the Chiefs be with him this year?
They got away with not having him last year, but they also lost 2 of their top 3 receivers off last year's team to the Chiefs, and people didn't give that enough consideration. We did. Mark, I think they'd have 2 less wins in the standings, and they certainly would not be dominating the mediocre to lesser teams the way they are. Not only do I think he's worth 2 wins, I think he's worth like 14 points a game also.
And so I think he's a very live candidate for an MVP award. And I do think the lesser opponents tonight, the Monday night game, he continues to play the way he's been playing and the way the Dolphins have been playing against lesser opponents. That MVP talk, come on. You get a blowout game. That's when you start lobbying for these things. That's when broadcasters start talking about MVPs. That's when these things happen, David.
Also, he can get the New York media in his back pocket because he's got the Jets coming up in 6 days. Listen, if he lights up Sauce Gardner and that defense, he'll get a lot of credit. I mean, they may suck on offense. They're top 5 on defense. So, Tyreek in the MVP conversation. Dolphins, Titans, Giants, Packers, both at 8:15 tonight. Dolphins on ESPN, the other one on ABC. Pat Kirwan's on Miller and Moulton next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Have a Molly Christmas, a Molly-made Christmas. Give your family a gift of a clean house. When you're looking for professional house cleaning services, you want to make sure that you find a team that can accommodate your budget, schedule, and cleaning preferences. Molly Maid is proud to provide thousands of families across the country with industry-leading services tailored to their specific needs. Call Molly Maid today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymade.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Good morning, Pat. Uh-oh, I don't hear Pat. Pat, did you step away?
Yeah, he should be coming through just like you guys are because it's through the StreamYard. So
Yeah, I don't hear him.
I don't either. He must not be there yet.
Morning, Pat.
I am not hearing Pat.
I'm not either.
I just sent him a text.
Yeah, again, it's nothing over here. It's got to be.
No, if we're hearing each other, we'd be hearing Pat. It's got to be on his end. Says your mic is not connected, Pat.
What do you think about that deal?
What deal?
Going undefeated, Florida State.
Oh, they got screwed. They got screwed. But they weren't going to, it's a television show, and they weren't going to leave Alabama out. I mean, they just got, there's no two ways about it. They did everything that was asked of them.
Who is this committee?
There's 12 members on it, former coaches, but it's ESPN did this. This was ESPN.
Yeah, okay.
It's their television show, and they wanted Alabama to get more eyeballs.
I mean, the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Mm-hmm. And Florida State will not be in the Atlantic Coast Conference Cup next year. You watch how they're going to figure out a way to get out of that conference.
But nobody didn't want to take that conference, but Bobby Bowden took it.
Well, when
at that time,
right?
You know, when they were, they were the Big East.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, he made that conference.
You bet. You bet. And now Eastern Conference, which been dominated for quite some time.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton.
I'm jumping back on right now. I got to go on the air.
Florida
All right.
Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network as I come at you from New York City, getting ready for one of two Monday Night Football games tonight. Packers-Giants. The other one, of course, the one that more people listening are interested in, the Dolphins, 2-touchdown favorites hosting the Titans. Mark is at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. I'd call you a degenerate, but I'm jealous.
Starting to come alive. There's starting to be a few more people walking around. They're getting close to their big event that happens at 11. The craps and roulette open up, the retail sports gambling as well. So a big day here at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee.
Jimmy Johnson, Edrin James going to be there in a couple of hours, and everything, the gambling standpoint, takes place beginning at 11. Pat Kirwan joining us on this day instead of tomorrow. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. Hope you had a good weekend. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and I apologize for the technical issues I had a minute ago. We'll solve them at some other point. But anyway, we got 11 or 12. We'll have 12 by tonight. Teams that are 7 and 6. So the battle is raging, if you will, to get into these playoffs. I think every week we're going to have volatility, at least in the wild card races. So interesting. Pittsburgh looked like garbage on Thursday, and they got right back into the race for a 6 seed. probably a good example of how volatile it is.
Pat, David and I were just talking, obviously the games yesterday, but just how many teams do you think are good teams right now? Are we dealing with just a handful of good teams? Who do you think is good right now, Pat?
Good question. So Baltimore, Miami, Kansas City, those three. 49ers, 4, Dallas, 5, Philadelphia, 6, Detroit, 7. That's it. 7.
We sure about Detroit?
Oh, I named them 7th, Dave. What else did I do?
No, I understand. I'm wondering, is this an interesting time for Dan Campbell? Like, Pat, you do things a certain way to raise a team up from the ashes, if you will, and then you get them to a certain point. But at some point, do you then have to become a little different, if you know what I mean? It's a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and they get him to a certain point. And now I just sense that, Pat, every time it's 4th and less than 5, he's going for it. Doesn't matter the score, doesn't matter where they are on the field. I almost sense like I want to pull him aside and go, Dan, it worked to get you to 9-3, but now you got to coach a little differently.
Well, he can't change, number one, but he needs someone to stop him from the impulsive decisions that he makes. And maybe it is a good point you're making that he's still treating them like kids in a grown-up world. But it's really, I think, fundamentally the problem. And why I have them in the 7 is they got Jared Goff and they got receivers. And on any given Sunday, they can throw a 300 on you. But the defense really fundamentally is the problem. They are not capable at this point of winning a game. It's got to have to be on the offense. So do I think Dan will? I think Dan will change next year, but he's still coaching a team that's never gotten to the playoffs. So he's pushing them as hard as he can. And I recall one conversation that he had with someone I know, and they talked about handling success. And sometimes it's as hard to handle success as it is defeat. He's very strong in handling defeat. That's how he drags his team from the basement up to where they are. But I don't think he's going to change now. I think a year from now, if he fortifies the roster a little more and they make the playoffs and they win a game, then I think you'll see him start to modify how he behaves, because he always is looking for mentoring and counseling. He is not a guy who thinks I got all the answers, but he still thinks he's got to do things because he doesn't know about his defense. And if you didn't like your defense and you had a chance to go for it on 4th down to keep the offense on the field, I think we all might take those chances.
Maybe they should have drafted the big kid from Georgia instead of the running back, and that defense would be a little bit better up front. But that's just me. Tampa yesterday, impressive in their comeback, come from behind. Baker Mayfield leading a great drive. He didn't look all that impressive before that, but Baker has them in a spot where they can win this division, Pat.
Yeah, Baker's been tenacious. He's always been tenacious. But this year, I think, I talk to Todd Bowles every week. He has zero complaints about Baker, zero complaints about Baker, the competitor, the team leader. He doesn't believe he can lose, so he doesn't have to worry about him. He's got other issues there, but, Todd Bowles, I think 3 days ago, was a dead man walking. What is Todd Bowles now? Keeping his job because they played pretty good against Atlanta in a critical game? I think Todd's personality leads ownership types to think he's not a leader, and he is a leader. The thing they do is talk to his players. They love playing for him. So Tampa Bay in the division that's probably going to have a losing record to win the division is sitting there in a great spot right now. Good for them. Do I think that they can slip up at any given Sunday? Yeah, they're 6-7. And Atlanta could jump right back in this race somehow. But I don't know about New Orleans, but I hope Todd does it. He's a good man, and I like Baker. Baker's playing for less than $2 million and a couple of incentives, which is incredible, which always leads me right to Joe Flacco. If I was Cleveland, I'd sit down with his agent, who I know very well, and say, $5 million for next year. And have him, because you never know with Deshaun Watson, and you better pay. Even Minshew's making 3.5. These are low salaries for guys that have proven they can win. So I'd be locking up Flacco if I were them, and I'd be locking up Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay.
Listen, we may get to Flacco later on in this talk, but I want to go back to Pat. Forget 3 days ago when Atlanta came back and scored with 3 minutes to go. I think the whole Todd Bowles regime was on the line, quite frankly. I mean, they lose that game, they're done, and they're 5-8, and they're probably moving on. But we saw Tampa Bay yesterday, and we saw Buffalo yesterday. This was the roughest week in McDermott's tenure in Buffalo. He got incredible negative publicity. People were coming after him, and that team played hard for him yesterday. You saw it in the locker room after the game. I thought there were 2 or 3 teams yesterday who made a statement as to how they feel about their head coaches.
Yeah, I never thought Sean McDermott was going anywhere. He has a contract extension. The owner likes him. The crap that was out there was 4 years old. It's been resolved multiple times. And they do like Sean. And they like to play hard for him. And they're a good football team that doesn't play well all the time. He made the tough decision with his OC, and it's been better, much better. So I never thought he was going anywhere. I still think there'll be at least 6 head coaching openings, and Tampa Bay still might be on that list, but I never thought Buffalo was.
I'm with you on Tampa Bay. I think if they don't win the division, I think it's the end for Bowles. I think the points that you made are spot on of what they think of him, and I don't know if that's a reflection of him, but that's how I think ownership views him as well, Pat. The Buffalo-Kansas City game, the offsides call at the end. Just your thoughts on that call, Pat, because Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes were more than upset during and after the game with their comments.
That was really bad. It's ticky-tack garbage. Even last night, not to get off that, so I'll come right back to it, but watching the Sunday night game, I can't take watching John Hussey and all the penalty calls. This league has got a officiating crisis, and we talk about it every time I come on the show. That call was a joke. As one of my referee friends said, it's a blade of grass statement. You thought his foot was over a blade of grass. Those were his words. We got a lot of inexperienced officials on fields, and they're flag happy because they're scared to death of bad grades. But there's a call that I thought was awful. Not because they scored a touchdown on it. It's just the kind of stupid call that ruins the flow of football when it's immaterial. It's insignificant. It's a blade of grass.
Pat, you didn't think he was offsides?
No.
If a
and even if he was, what was the off by? A blade of grass.
Well, Pat, I mean, come on, we couldn't see the football.
One of them. You think they should apply the rules nonstop? If you did, there'd be a penalty on every play. Do you think anyone was holding on that play? It's a joke to me. We have no flow of football, and people think I'm saying that because I wanted him to score a touchdown. No. If you go back and watch any game you want and watch how many tackles are in the backfield, how many receivers are a blade of grass over, and it's never called.
Pat, if a defensive player lined up the way Tony lined up, he would have been called offsides in the neutral zone. I mean, I thought it was blatant.
I didn't. So we share a common ground on that subject.
No, we don't. That's interesting.
Yeah. More than interesting, the game is being ruined by guys in zebra suits. And really, this is the kind of stuff they like doing. And go look at all the games. Did you watch last night?
Yeah, no, Pat, listen, first off, I knew it was coming. Warren Sharp put out a thing about Hussey and how the Eagles have won their last 6 games with him as ref, and he called like 6 penalties on them and 20 on the opponents. I knew the flags were coming in the first quarter last night because Hussey got raked over the coals in the media. 8 flags in the first quarter, most of them ticky-tack. I knew that was coming. We just disagree on that one. I thought – listen, the game is being over officiated. I think we all agree with that. I thought that one was on Tony.
As I said, we're done talking about it because we're never going to agree.
No, we're not, and that's fair. Do you think,
Pat
though, the
Kirwan, NFL's
reaction? I'm sorry, Mark, and we've got 30 seconds, Pat. Do you think, though, the reaction from Reed and Mahomes is indicative not of the call, but they know their team's in trouble? They know this team is not the team of the last 6 years.
I can't mind Reed. Andy Reid's won a lot of games. Andy Reid is still going to be a top 4 seed. Andy Reid is going to have to play on the road most likely, and that's okay. They'll do what they have to do. I think they were pissed off at the call.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL's Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS, the NFL Today Show, and Pat is brought to us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh. We'll find some common ground with Pat. It won't be the offside call, but we will find some common ground here coming up on the other side. More with Pat Kirwan coming up. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton. David is in New York. I'm at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. Thanks for listening.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Boys?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Nice sensitive nerve you hit there, David.
Well, that's okay. I mean, listen, it's it's an obvious talking point today, and the opinion. There is very little gray area on this. You either think he was offsides, or you think that, as Marv Levy famously said, they were an over-officious jerk. I mean, there's really no in between.
Announcement.
If you really watch football with the rule book in your hand, you'd call something on every play.
Come on,
Him for a second. Did he show his true colors? He went and slammed Philly as much as he could to clean up his reputation. What a joke he is. He better not get a Super Bowl. He's calling 16 penalties a game for the year.
Pat, I got to admit,
If you got any power over the officials for our game, you better mention it to someone.
Well, you're right. We'll agree to it. But I got people texting me right now who totally agree with you. So.
Do you guys think there's
I know I got a friend or two out there. I don't need a lot, but I got one or two. I'll be on the clock, and I'm going to stir the shit up pretty hard.
What was the? Did you guys have a post game, or did you have to sign off real quick, or did the guys have time to chime in on that?
No, I'm going to talk to Calla here. He's going to come on and do some stuff, I guess, on the news network or something about it. As soon as I'm done with you guys. Look, I tried to get on a plane, and that was all screwed up. And now I don't get out till tomorrow. I can get out today, but I can't because it's during when my show is on. So I have to take the morning flight tomorrow.
Was this because the weather was not as bad here as they thought it was going to be?
No, the flight was delayed from somewhere else. It never came in. And I've been stuck at that airport before, and I just said, you know what? Screw this. I am not sitting here in this airport till 11:30, and then you tell me we're not going.
Right.
I said, can you get me out Monday? He said, yeah, we can get you out. I think it was 3:10. I said, I can't go at 3:10. Tuesday morning, 8 o'clock. He said, I'll take that. That storm was coming from the south. I don't know where the plane was coming from, but it was, they keep warning me on my phone while I'm sitting in the studio. And last year I sat in there Christmas night, and that was the scar of scars until 11:30. Then they canceled 12 flights simultaneously. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I never got out. I never went home. But this one, I said, I have a dentist thing on Wednesday and my annual skin doctor thing on Thursday. My wife would lose her marbles if I didn't make it down because I've canceled these appointments 100 times. I've just as soon stay up here all week now, but that ain't happening.
Did you go to hockey Friday night?
Oh, yeah. They were playing really good on Friday. They had some ridiculous outfits on. I guess they look like elves, Christmas elves.
They wear more uniforms in a year than any team I've ever seen.
You ain't kidding. They must raffle them off successfully because they roll through those things. Like, I'll bet you there's 10 different uniforms I've seen in any given season.
Well, it's got to be successful because the cost of having them, they obviously are making money on them.
Yeah. And, you do see people walking around. They bid on them. And I see people walking around in the arena all the time, and the ones that they bid on is kind of amazing to me.
Well, Pat, we've commented. I've never seen a minor league team have the percentage of fans wear jerseys that the Blades do. It's really impressive.
It is very impressive. And, I don't know anything about any other minor league teams at all, but you feel like they have a real strong base fan base. It's kind of like.
Yes. Here we go.
It's really.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He joins us a day early because, well, his flight plans and everything got all messed up with this storm that came rolling into the Northeast yesterday. But it's our pleasure to bring Pat back courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. I'm in Lower Manhattan getting ready for Giants-Packers Monday Night Football. I could say Mark's at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee getting ready for Dolphins-Titans, but that would be a lie.
No, I'm at the Seminole Casino Hotel for their startup of roulette and craps going on today. Big event. Jimmy Johnson, Tito Ortiz, Edgerrin James all going to be on hand starting at 11 a.m. this morning. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll the bones, David. They can't come quick enough for me.
Pat,
I got to tell you, Mark, when I came on today and I saw you and I did not know you were at the casino, I said, this guy has the best basement in the world. He's got all kinds of games down. This is unbelievable. He never invited me over to. Then I realized no one in Florida has a basement. But I go, where the heck is he? So it was awesome. My first inclination was, what a basement.
Mark Miller's Man Cave is the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. Hey, why is this year Cowboys team different? Or are they?
Well, Dak is having a great year. And I know you guys were talking about MVP. You got to put him in the list of candidates. He's playing fantastic. I think Dan Quinn has got a nice defense. And they, I think when they came out running the ball, I was excited to see the way they were going to play football. They drifted away from the run for a while in the third quarter especially, but mostly I thought the formula's good. The effect of Mike making the play calls. I thought earlier in the year he was starting to do things just like Kellen was doing, and those were the things he didn't like, but he got back on track. And I got to give a little credit to Tony Pollard. He's doing a pretty good job running inside. I thought he's going to be terrific out of the backfield, but he ran with power. And never forget that you got Mr. Martin up front. Just run behind him all the time. You'll be fine.
What's different about Dak this year? Why are the interceptions down so much, Pat?
I think he's got receivers, that catch the ball most of the time. That's part of it. Look, Jerry sticks by the guy, and that was a great move by Jerry. We always like to give Jerry a hard time for some of the things he thinks and does, but his loyalty to Dak has paid dividends. I think maybe that's the best way to say it.
Well, also, how about his loyalty to McCarthy? I mean, McCarthy clearly went to him and said, listen, I'm not saying Kellen Moore is not good, but it's not my style. We need to do it differently. We need to do it my way. I've won a Super Bowl before. We need to move on from Kellen. And if you're going to hold me responsible for our success, then hold me responsible. Let me run the offense. And to Jerry's credit and to Mike's credit, they made this move. And clearly Mike McCarthy, as offensive coordinator, has brought out the best in Dak Prescott.
I totally agree with that. And it says something to me loud and clear that guys like Jerry, and really all these owners, ought to hire guys that have experience as head coaches. You keep hiring guys that don't have the experience, and then they have to learn on the job with Jerry as their boss. It's a bad formula because Jerry will sense right away that I can, and I don't think he does it on purpose. I just think he realizes I can influence this guy. I can get him to do the things I want him to do. With Mike's pretty seasoned. I'll leave it at that. And I think it's interesting to see how Mike took control of this. If I'm going down, I'm going to go down the ship by myself. So good for him. And he's got an extreme. Now recall, David, you're a great art historian. I think early after 1 year with Dan Quinn, there was a little bit of ruffled feathers there. And I thought, these guys might not get along. Two former head coaches, but they figured it out.
Well, and
they're
you got
doing well together. But
I mean,
always looking that smooth to me.
Pat, it's always been a mystery to Miller and Moulton. Mike McCarthy won a Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy's record in Green Bay was really good. Mike McCarthy got the Packers job, and people treated it like, he was Ray Hanley. I mean, and not only that, Mike McCarthy puts up with Jerry Jones as owner, a hand-picked offensive coordinator for him that he didn't want, and Dan Quinn's coach in waiting, for goodness sakes, running the defense. I mean, Mike's in a tough spot. He's won 12 games in back-to-back years, and they're 10-3. That's pretty good.
He's very good. And, but, here's how some owners are. They look for the good-looking guy that looks like a presidential candidate, and that's not Mike. Mike looks like a line coach. So there are people that worry about that stuff. Some of them care mostly about how they're going to do in a press conference. Some of them care about things like what's the public perception of the guy. Jerry is the public. And, you still got to deal with an owner that's got his own radio show. That can be problematic to your message. And everyone who's coached there, including Parcells, has had to deal with the messaging that Jerry puts out there when you really want the owner to put it out there. So Mike figured it all out, and he's doing it his way, and it's for now working. But did he turn on this guy? He won't fire him. But what if he goes out in the first round? Where will Jerry be on that one?
Well, and they're set up to be the 5 because if Philadelphia wins out, they'll get the division over Dallas with conference record. But what do you make of the Eagles now? Is this just a matter of it was 4 really difficult games in a row? Their defense was on the field a ton in that win against Buffalo. So what do you make of the Eagles off of these back-to-back pretty decisive losses that they've had?
Well, I think that everyone studies, like, they're going to get studied right now by Seattle, right? So Seattle's having their own problems, but Seattle's going to look at what Mike's doing. Remember, Dan Quinn is very close to Pete, and Pete raised them in this league. So they'll be sharing notes, and I think you're going to, he'll get some insight as to what to do. He's going to love the way that running game looks, and he'll want to do plenty of that. I don't think for Philadelphia going to Seattle's a lock to win. And I don't. And so we'll see what happens to it. And then, you can throw on Philadelphia. I think David brought it up on Friday. There's some vulnerability there in the passing defense. And I would think Philadelphia, with Metcalf and those guys, they're going to want to throw the ball. Hopefully Geno's ready to go, although I didn't think Locke played that bad. But I think they've still got a game or two, which is why I don't assume Philadelphia is going to win out here. I think they still have a loss coming somewhere.
Mark, we brought up the stat at the beginning of the year. We said outside of Brady and the Patriots, they're the only team since, I believe, the Dolphins, who lost Super Bowl VI, who returned to win the Super Bowl the next year. It's very difficult when you lose the Super Bowl to even get back to the game. And for 2 months, the Eagles made us look bad. But, Mark, you and I both got off the Eagles train this year, just said history's not on their side.
Hey, it's a rugged ride. And outside of Darius Slay, I wouldn't mind throwing against a lot of those guys back there. So that's where it's going. But I hope they win the division. I mean, they played pretty hard, but Dallas is they look more dynamic to me. Maybe that's the best way to say this.
Which is interesting because the Eagles are supposed to have all the weapons. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, 3 to 7 weekdays, 2 to 5 on Saturday. CBS's NFL Today show, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, safe travels, getting back to Southwest Florida, and we'll talk again on Friday.
Yeah, and let's not talk about blades of grass anymore, David. I like you too much.
Okay.
No, we'll just talk about offsides, Pat.
Hey, I love your basement, Mark. Keep it up.
Mark's Basement is the Seminole Casino in Immokalee, where the sports book and the gaming, the craps and the roulette, it all gets underway at 11 o'clock. Jimmy Johnson, Edgerrin James, other dignitaries.
A lot of name tags today, David. A lot of credentials, a lot of name tags, a lot of people milling about. Everybody's on high alert for these events. I'm at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee. David's getting ready for Monday Night Football in New York. We are Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, it's amazing how habitual some of this button pushing is. It's so different with Mark not being in the studio today. It's just like different places. Feels weird. So Mark, where are you set up in there?
Right by the zigzag blackjack tables with there's a bar behind me where the reception's taking place.
Okay.
And Martin, to your question, probably not. We don't do a lot of Red Wing hockey on this show.
Well, also on Monday, no. It's funny, Logic Man. I fly all the time. Wasn't even aware of flightaware.com.
What's that?
No, these guys are discussing travel in the Twitch chat room, and Logic Man suggested that somebody go to flightaware.com, and I was saying I didn't even know that existed. And I fly a lot.
I almost feel like I have to just cover the mic with my hand. It takes away a lot of I need a little cover around myself here. Because that's a hell of a lot better, for me at least. But it picks up every voice that comes by talking.
Well, I hear there's two women having a conversation.
Yeah. And then a lot of time they just stop right here in front of the table and start
Sure.
talking. It's like,
Yeah.
Of
Just
course.
Fantastic. Might as well pull up a chair, ladies. What's on your mind?
What do you guys
Go
think
down
of
here.
Florida State not making the playoff?
I know. I love that guy talking to you. So what do you guys think of Florida State?
Like, what do you think we think?
Man, I don't miss flying one bit. I used to travel a lot. I used to like it. I don't even think I like it anymore.
I don't like the 15-minute, and it's a fairly hard rule with a lot of airlines these days. They close the door 15 minutes before the flight. Although I will say I was on a flight. Was it the flight here?
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until we're done along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour. For our longtime Southwest Florida audience, we are Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I'm in Lower Manhattan. Packers Giants, one of two Monday Night Football games tonight. Most of you are interested in the other one, which will be on ESPN. The Dolphins hosting the Titans. 13.5-point favorites are Miami. Biggest favorite on the board this week. Right now, tentatively biggest favorite on the board for next week when they host the Jets. Dolphins on ESPN. Tommy DeVito on ABC.
I can sense your enthusiasm for Monday Night Football tonight, David.
Giants are averaging 13 points a game, Mark. Tua and Tyreek will hook up for 13 points in the first quarter. Which game would you rather be at?
There's no doubt. I think the Dolphins are in a very exciting team.
Yeah.
I put it this way. I think if the networks had their druthers right now in the AFC, I think they'd pick the Dolphins to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl right now.
Wow. You got Mahomes and the Chiefs, obviously. You got Lamar and the Ravens. You think they would choose Tua, Tyreek, and the Dolphins? Wow. That's an interesting, I would say no, because the Dolphins have not proven to be a ratings, draw yet. But you and I would.
Styles make a fight. Their style's entertaining.
If it is the Dolphins and the Niners again, 39 years later, it would be a very comparable storyline outside of the Montana Marino thing. But the Niners were the more complete team. But the Dolphins were the high-flying offense. Marino threw for like 450 in the AFC title game. They hung nearly 50 on the Steelers. I mean, it would be a similar, the Dolphins defense this year is a little better than it was in 84. But Mark, you could see outside of the, Purdy Tua is not exactly Montana Marino.
No, and obviously, they'd pick the Chiefs because the Chiefs have done it and they draw, and then there's a Taylor Swift possibility. So that whole thing adds to it. But from a stylistic standpoint, that style of football that the Dolphins play is what television networks want on TV.
So here's what I think is going to happen. I think the Dolphins are going to be the 2. My fear for the Dolphins is they're going to get the Bengals or the Bills in the first round. They're going to get the toughest first-round draw in the AFC. But if by chance they win, it could be Tyreek and the Dolphins hosting the Chiefs. Come on. Don't you want to see the rematch?
Yes.
Chiefs won the first half 21-0 in Germany. Dolphins won the second half 14-0, held the Chiefs to like 46 yards. I mean, don't you want to see the rematch only in South Florida?
And that half was really the turnaround for what, David? The Dolphin defense. That's when they started to play. And they gave away 7 points. It wasn't the D's fault that for 7 of those points in that game.
Right, a fumble late in the first half, return for their touchdown.
So that was the turnaround for the Dolphins. That game was the game that we said, oh, maybe Fangio's defense, maybe it's starting to take hold, and it has.
Since Mark's at the casino, and since you've been able to bet in Florida for about a month, In years past, whenever you had a double-digit line, it was take the points in the NFL. This year, for whatever the reason, Mark, usually the biggest and or second biggest line on the board, lay the points this year. And the two biggest lines on the board this week were the Niners laying 11.5. They won by 12 over Seattle. Now, in some places, it went up late when the word was Geno wasn't going to play. But all week, it was 11 to 11.5. And the Dolphins have been 13 to 13.5 all week against the Titans.
So what are you trying to say over there, David? Lay the big number?
I would. For whatever reason. I think, Mark, it's something you maybe even 2 months ago touched on, in which you thought that there were a lot of bad teams. You said it on this show before Brady said it nationally. And because of it, when you get a matchup of one, don't assume like in the past, oh, they'll find a way to keep it close. And look at what the Dolphins have been doing to the mediocre to bad teams anyway.
Well, and the Dolphins, with that style, don't want to play close games. I mean, they're trying to score quickly and score often. That's how that offense works, and that's how it runs its best.
Now, for what it's
Because
worth
even
tonight,
their run game works efficiently, David. I mean, it's not like they don't break off big runs.
13.5, 46.5. So basically, give or take a half a point, 30 to 17 Dolphins. Okay. But believe it or not, I think I'd lay the number. And you know, I love the Titans. I mean, I've got a soft spot for Vrabel, Tannehill, even though he's not the quarterback anymore, and the Titans in the last 5 years. I felt they've been the most underappreciated franchise in the league, quite frankly. But I think I'd lay the points tonight.
I will say I've turned around enough on your guy Tannehill. I know he's not playing, but that's a guy that needs to get paid to be a backup next year. Or compete for one of the jobs that's open for another day.
Do we want to have that Joe Flacco conversation? And once again, the quality of general managers' work that's being done around this league. And I say quality with tongue in cheek as firmly as I can plant it. My goodness. I mean, honestly, if I owned the Jets, I'd fire Joe Douglas just for what Joe Flacco's done.
Well, the talk was he wouldn't have signed with them, though.
Well, because they lied to him
Right.
a year ago. Right. But I once again, I would have fired the guy who lied to him. All right. And besides, Mark, you throw enough money at a guy, maybe he puts feelings aside.
Well, you would have fired Joe Douglas a long time ago.
Well, I certainly would have fired him midseason this year. I really would have. All right. When Rodgers went down, wasting this year in this defense to me was just you can't be the general manager anymore. I'm sorry. Never mind the fact that you took Mekhi Becton 11th and Zach Wilson 2nd. I mean, I'm not exactly trusting you with my future draft picks either. So no, we need to move on. Appreciate what you tried to do, but here's millions of dollars. Go home. Speaking of millions, he doesn't even have to move. Ohtani. All right. Very quickly. So we're doing Army Navy. And I'm to the right of Gary. And you got Brad Nessler. And then you got his spotter and his stats guy. His longtime stats guy is George Hill. George Hill's been Al Michaels stats guy for 50 years. All of a sudden, late first quarter, I think it was, George Hill, the play has started, by the way. George is not supposed to leave his seat. George Hill comes running behind everybody and comes running up to me. And I'm thinking, wow, this is an important stat that I got to get to Gary, apparently. And he's showing me his watch. that has the breaking news: Ohtani 10 for 700 with the Dodgers. And then George Hill races back and sits down. The play's going on. He's the stats guy.
Yeah, but it was Army Navy. This is Ohtani for $700 million. There are some things that just take precedent, David.
Apparently so. I don't know if he does that for Alabama Auburn, but he did it. You know, Alabama Georgia, maybe he stays in the seat. He waits till the commercial, sends me a text or something. But anyway, ran from one side of the booth to the other. Showed me his watch. Look, breaking. 10 for 700.
The event is starting to take heat in here, as you can hear in the voices behind me, David. This mic seems to pick up everything, but at least the employees end of the dignitaries are all rolling in as they're getting ready for their big event here at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee. Craps and roulette. I'm rolling bones at 11 a.m., David.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'll be in a production meeting thinking of you.
And and that's the only thing I've been asked this morning. Boy, I wish we could have had David here. And I'm like, David wishes he could be here.
I do. Yes, I do. Wishing I was at Titans Dolphins, in fact.
Yeah, you're jonesing to see some Dolphins this year, aren't you?
Well, listen, don't get me wrong. Jordan Love's been so much better the last 3 weeks. He looks like an NFL starting quarterback the last 3 weeks, and he really had not up until this run where he's got 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. But, Mark, the Giants are scoring 13 points a game. I mean, look at who they've beaten these last 2 games. They've beaten the Commanders and the Patriots. Combined, they have 7 wins. I mean, they're a terrible team. They're not good. And so, no, I don't want to see bad football. And I don't know with the Giants on the field how you see good football. At least with the Dolphins, I think I'm going to see good football.
The case for the Dolphins will not be tonight, though. It's coming.
No, but you know what they have to do? Remember, last year they got to 8-3, and yes, Tua got hurt. But they got to 8-3, and they started losing games they were supposed to win. They got to 6-3 this year. They had 5 games lined up in a row against losing teams. What have they done so far? They've won the first 3. Tennessee's tonight. Ask the Houston Texans, Mark. We're wondering how good's the team. Ask the Detroit Lions. What did we ask of the Lions? Just keep winning the games you're supposed to win. Why are we getting a little worried about the Lions? Why are we now worried about the Jags? Because they lost Monday night at home as a 10-point favorite to the Bengals. That's when we start to worry about teams. When they start losing the games they're supposed to win. The Texans losing badly to the Jets at this point in the season? Yeah, that screams pretender.
By the way, how about Trevor Lawrence playing and throwing it 50 times for crying out loud?
I didn't like any of it. I really didn't. I don't care that he wanted to play. And I know he made some good throws. He also turned it over 3 times. And like Mark just pointed out, I know they fell behind 14-0 early, but no running game at all. We're not trying to protect him at all. 3rd string left tackle trying to block Myles Garrett. And by the way, take a look at Myles Garrett's comments after the game, in which Myles Garrett basically walked up to the podium with his checkbook and said, I don't care. There are some things I need to say. Crushing the officiating.
Seems to be what is happening right now. And I mean, if you missed our conversation with Pat Kirwan, Pat hated the offside call. Hated it. It's probably as angry as I've heard Pat on this show. And we've had Pat on a lot. And I think it's not just that call, but it's the bigger picture of the officiating. I think he was more worked up about the Sunday night game than he was that call, but that's what led into it.
He definitely feels, I think most of us do, that there's too much laundry on the field. Miller and Moulton think that the official got it right in the Chiefs Bills game. We just thought that Tony lined up off sides. I just don't know how you let that go.
And he didn't ask. It's not the official's job to move him back. If he asks and they tell him that he's fine and they call a penalty, that's a whole nother story. But he never looked.
Not the video that everybody's looking at. There's no signal of Tony looking over at the official to say, "Am I okay?" You know, there are times where defensive linemen ends line up off sides and the tackle tells them move back. You know, the left tackle did not look over to the left and say to Tony, "Hey, you got to move back."
And yes, it took away an incredible play.
And if the Bills,
but I still think it's a penalty.
And if the Bills go on this big run, which a lot of us think they can, that play will loom very large. Along the network, have a great rest of your day. The Diamond District bonus hour is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme.
Check
the
one,
best
two.
place in Naples
Hey,
to enjoy
hey.
the beautiful weather in Southwest
Can
Florida.
you- oh.
The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy
1, 2,
hour
1,
every
2.
day from 3 to 6.
That's better.
And live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
Have a
East.
Molly Christmas, a Molly made Christmas. Give your family a gift of a clean house. When you're looking for professional house cleaning services, you want to make sure that you find a team that can accommodate your budget, schedule, and cleaning preferences. Molly Maid is proud to provide thousands of families across the country with industry-leading services tailored to their specific needs. Call Molly Maid today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, Trent.
Yes.
It's still quiet. Shit. Thought I had something fixed here. Check 1, 2. David, talk to me.
3, 2, 3, 2, 1.
There we go. Now that's a lot better. I figured something out with this little microphone.
Okay.
You still sound good.
Found more buttons. Started pressing them.
Now, this is the ASUN logo, Atlantic Sun Conference. It's their latest logo. I know everybody thinks I'm a Trekkie. Uh-oh. Is there going to be music right behind you?
Not until 10.
5 seconds.
She's going to start playing.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour, and we're doing it like never before. I'm on location. Mark's on location. We've left Trent alone. I'm in New York. Giants and Packers. You know, the whole old teams, logos, helmets, shoulder pads. They're on ABC. You know, the team we all want to see, the Dolphins. Yeah, they're on ESPN tonight. That's not why Mark is at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee, although he is going to bet the game. Isn't that right? In person.
Oh, yes. The kiosks are here. The live betting begins at 11 a.m. The craps, the roulette at the Seminole Casino Hotel are all ready to go. Fired up. That, you know, we've been down here a long time, David. I've been down here 25 years. You've been down here, what, 24, 23? I mean, we've never had full-style casino gambling here.
No, I know. That's why you're on location at the hour that you had to get up and leave the house and get there for. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a BFD, as we like to say, Mark.
It really is.
Do you know that there's a woman behind you with a rather large instrument? I think it's a cello.
I believe it's a stand-up bass, but we can go cello.
Okay.
But
Right.
Yes, there's a band right behind me. They are scheduled to begin. I was told they begin at 10. They look as if they're ready to play right now. And David, here's the thing. It's not 10.
No. And see, they look as if they're going to warm up. And you're very much in their warm-up.
I am.
How about this? They start warming up. How about if you just go up and just, you know, act like a backup singer? Okay. Can you? You know, like be a Pip. Be a backup singer to Adele. You know, just get into it. Do it. Come on.
You know, I didn't bring the blue tux, or I would have been perfect for that.
Well, remember, it's the warm-up hour. You're being casual.
Couple of arm rolls, couple of sways,
Totally.
an ooh and an ah here and there.
You and I could be a Pip. We could be a Pip. We could. Little practice. But so Mark's at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. Jimmy Johnson's going to be there. Not the race car driver either, the football coach. All right. Edgerrin James is going to be there. Hall of Fame running back. Just like Jimmy was a Hall of Fame coach. Yeah. Who do we have?
By the way,
Tito Ortiz, right?
Tito Ortiz.
He is a Hall of Famer, by the way. He was the 9th inductee in the UFC Hall of Fame.
Oh, so Tito Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. So,
yes.
wow.
3 Hall of Famers.
Wow.
And
Look
David,
at
I
this.
probably left the best for last. Tony Orlando is going to be here too.
Oh, my goodness. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree.
And if you can name another Tony Orlando song, go.
Damn. Well, we've got how many segments this hour? I've got time to look it up. Listen, that was not their only hit. By the way, who's Dawn these days? Is Tony allowed to perform without a Dawn?
I believe so.
Okay.
There is no more Dawn.
No, I know.
And OK Music does bring up Knock 3 times. That's probably the other one you'd know. After that, we're going to go into a deep black hole of Tony Orlando songs.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, He Don't Love You. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't a one-hit wonder, but he doesn't exactly have a handful. But, man, he did those variety shows with those big, white, thick microphones that were just awful.
And collars to match.
Right.
The collars were as big as the microphone.
And you didn't realize at the time just how badly they were lip syncing. Oh, man, it was glorious television. Glorious television back in the day. Any concern about the Dolphins tonight, or is the concern just whether or not they're going to cover?
I think the concern is just whether or not they're going to cover. I don't see them having a lot of problem with this because you brought up Detroit last time, and unlike Detroit, Miami's not slowed down. They continue, like Dallas has not slowed down. Play a bad team, we're going to pound them.
I don't know if you were a little busy this weekend. Remember, you had that house party for 216 people, and then you had to get ready for the live show here at the Seminole Casino in Immokalee. So you might have missed it, but it's standard fare when an announcing crew comes into the city. They meet with head coach, 2 coordinators, and, 1 to 3 players from both teams. So the B team, if you will, for ABC ESPN, Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick, they've been in South Florida for a couple days. So they've been hanging around the Dolphins, and they've been meeting with McDaniel and Tua and Tyreek and the guys. Oh, wow. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, Mark, I feel what they have been producing on TV and on Twitter, it's almost like watching the college football pregame show as if maybe Alabama's going to get in ahead of Florida State. I mean, that's how in love with the Dolphins Riddick and Orlovsky are.
Well, think about it. I mean, they've probably been at a practice or two.
Uh-huh.
What do you think this offense looks like in practice?
Because it looks pretty good when people are trying to stop it.
Correct.
Right. And the coaches that they deal with, how many of them are like Mike McDaniel?
None.
Right. So
None.
They're all in.
No.
They're all in.
And Orlovsky, who's a pretty enthusiastic guy. We had Dan on the show a handful of times as he was kind of cutting his teeth in the business. He's a fiery, glass half full type of guy. Well, when you stick that attitude with the Dolphins offense, it's pretty easy to start finding how full that glass is, if you know what I mean, David.
Riddick thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. Orlovsky thinks they're about ready to start a Chiefs-like run. That this is going to be like a 5-year thing. That this is not just a blip. This is not a moment. or at least a Bills-like run of the last, 4 or 5 years. They think there's a new sheriff in town, and it's Tua and Tyreek and Mike McDaniel, and this is the beginning.
You pointed out earlier all of the teams with winning records in the AFC, 11 teams with winning records in the AFC. Would you, with that being said, has the AFC, it's not lived up to the hype, if you know what I mean?
No,
because the AFC has a lot of teams with winning records, but it's not nearly the conference that we thought it was going to be in August.
No, we thought more of the teams with winning records, instead of being, quote, pretty good, would be, quote, very good. Buffalo 7-6. Come on, we thought Buffalo was going to be, quote, very good. Tough to label a team very good when they're 7-6. Same with Cincinnati. We didn't see Burrow hurt. They're obviously pretty good. They're 7-6, but we thought they'd be very good.
And obviously, no Rodgers with the Jets changes that. But
I thought the Steelers would be clearly better than they are, even when they were 7-4 with Arizona and New England on the schedule. I thought they were going to win both and be 9-4, but I thought this was going to be the ugliest 9-4 team we've ever seen in NFL history. Turns out they're so ugly they're 7-6. Deshaun's hurt. I mean, are we buying the Bengals with Jake Browning? Are we buying the Browns with Joe Flacco? I mean, if you think about it, that defense, if he's going to deliver them competent veteran quarterback play, who's played in far bigger games than the Browns are going to play in the rest of this year. I mean, should we start talking about the Browns?
That's an interesting question. And I was thinking the same thing, because that defense is formidable.
Yeah.
That is a legit top 5 defense in the league.
Maybe top 1, 2. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think put it this way. They're a playoff team. Of all the teams we've been mentioning, do you think Cleveland's a playoff team, David?
Yes, because I think their defense can get them across the finish line from here. But, I mean, now, I will say, I want to see Joe Flacco do it against somebody else not named Jacksonville. The same with Jake Browning, who played pretty well yesterday against the Colts. Colts not a good defensive team, but the Jags clearly right now defensively are in a bad spot. The defense carried the team through the middle of their season, but they've just made Jake Browning and Joe Flacco look like, Burrow and name the quarterback.
Well, we probably won't find out. The Bengals do play a team with a winning record next week. They have the Vikings, and they're at home. And the Browns have the Bears, who are playing better, but we're not certainly ready to say much about the Bears other than that the last couple of weeks they look like they're starting to find a little something.
Just curious, how difficult are these wild card games going to be in both conferences? Obviously in the NFC, we're going to have the 5 seed be clearly superior to the 4 seed, but it could produce a really bad game. And right now we've got the Vikings and Packers as the 6 and 7. I mean, do we really think they're going to give Dallas, Philadelphia, if you will, a game? In the AFC, though, I think we're wondering the same thing. Okay, right now Pittsburgh's in the playoffs. Indianapolis is in the playoffs. Houston's losing a tiebreaker to get in the playoffs. Do we think, Mark, they're going to go into Kansas City and win, go into Baltimore and win, go to Miami and win? No, the teams that those teams would fear playing in the first round are named Buffalo and Cincinnati.
Absolutely. I will say, Houston's interesting to me because they've won some games and beaten some teams that make you think when that offense is going that they can do something. Now, I don't know. The receiver out's going to hurt them. Dell, they're getting hurt. It's going to hurt them immensely because he was having a tremendous rookie year. But Houston, with Stroud has the ability to have a game and beat anybody.
And you said with Stroud, let's hope, knocked out of the game with a concussion, let's hope that he can recover quickly from it. And this isn't Tua. Remember what happened to the Dolphins last year? Tua suffered that concussion that ended up ending his season. Dolphins went from 8-3 to 9-8. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Not one, but two Monday night football games tonight.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. The vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Joe and Troy of Giants Packers. Chris Fowler, Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky. I'm guessing Laura Rutledge sidelines.
So McAfee's coming back, huh?
Oh, is that out?
Yeah, he announced it apparently.
Okay, yeah. I thought the whole thing was a business ploy, to be honest. Although it is laughable to me how sensitive the ESPN people are to criticism. Good luck with the SEC full time, by the way, because those fans that
it's so funny you say that because
they'll lay off.
I Jake's pretty level headed, but it's funny how his whole family thinks that Gary hates Georgia.
Right. Yes. They all every fan base.
And Jake, when they do it, goes, "Yep, he does." Mark, Dad told me that's his response to him.
Yep. My dad works with a guy who works with him. Right. Yep.
Right. He hates you.
My dad knows him. He's interviewed him many times. It's true. Yep.
What do you need? Well, the fruit guys are out there.
It's hysterical. It's what we've talked about for a long time. The college football fan wants propaganda. They don't want anything else. Oh, that's going to lead to something, this segment, if it's okay. Can I start with something we haven't brought up yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Buried in Bourbon. McAfee picking Alabama the way he did it, singing the Georgia theme with the Georgia fans.
Oh, awesome.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Is that coming up? Were you able to bring that with you on location, or?
I have today was the day when done.
Okay.
I just realized in that commercial break that I don't have a good, a bad, or an ugly. So there's a little work to be done yet today.
Well, one of those two, at the very least, could be where you are and what's going on. I mean, so there, you got one of the three done.
I mean, I have 6 blackjack tables that are literally within spitting distance. This is impossible to try to be a competent radio show host when I'm looking at all the zigzag girls, the 6 blackjack tables all ready to open. They're raring to go, and I'm sitting here talking to you.
No, don't blame me now. All right. Don't blame me. But see, that sounds like the good. Okay, right there. So you got the good. So you got to work on the bad and ugly. Hey, can I bring up something we haven't talked about?
Yeah.
So, hey, I don't know if you're aware, but the Florida State fans are a little angry these days.
Ran into one this morning.
Right. And ESPN is trying to, let the Florida State fan know, hey, we still love you. We still care. In fact, they announced over the weekend, you know where we're going next year? The first game day of the year? We're going to Dublin. We're going to Dublin because you guys are playing Georgia Tech, and we love you. So we're going to be there. Mark, this is not a good idea.
No.
Have you been paying attention to Florida State social media? They're going to Ireland. They were going whether ESPN was going or not. I mean, there's going to be 25,000 at least strong from Florida State that are traveling over there for one reason only, the football game. So if ESPN is going to do game day, guess what those fans are going to do before the game? Game day.
Yeah, and they're going to make a little noise.
Have you seen the merchandise they're selling?
I have not.
Yeah, Kirk Herbstreit in a clown's outfit, clown nose.
Yeah.
Things they're doing with the ESPN College Football Playoff logo that I can't necessarily transcribe. Yeah, this stuff's being sold. So let me get this straight. 5-hour time difference. So 9 a.m. in the States Eastern is 2 in the afternoon there. So the pubs have been open for a few hours. Never mind the beer that they've purchased and they're consuming. So they're going to have quite a few hours already in them. And they're going to get to bring signs and do chants behind ESPN.
Right. And remember, David, like you said, plenty more time because it's not 9 a.m. over there.
Right.
They may get up at 9 a.m. To start drinking to get to game day.
Right.
That's going to start at 1 or whenever the hell it is.
At least 2. It's at least a 5-hour time difference. It's going to be 2 or 3 in the afternoon is when the game day is going to start over in Dublin. Yeah, this is a bad idea. I mean, 8 months' time, 9 months' time is not going to be enough time to think Florida State fan by late August next year is going to be over this.
They'll never be over this.
No, they will not.
I'm not kidding. They will never be over this.
And do you know who they blame?
ESPN. There's only one group to blame. It's come on.
They blame them. Okay,
well,
they blame Herb Street. Okay, Herb Street has not gotten a lot of negative anything in his 25-year media career. The last almost 20 of it as the guy at that network. This is going to be uncomfortable. I'm telling you right now, they're going to change the location of game day. There is no way they can
they'll bail on this?
No. They'll do it in Dublin, but they will not be outside the stadium. I think they will move this inside the stadium. I think they'll have to. Mark, the chants alone. No, seriously. The Florida State fan for 3 hours, the signs that they will bring to game day, that game day will somehow, some way have to keep off the air. I mean, Mark, we're talking bad language.
Yeah, they can't police that. There's no way.
Right. I mean, this is a bad idea.
Where the sign makers got to be very smart, though. You got to have like the double sign. You got to have the sign that says one thing and then be ready to rip it down.
Yeah.
When because they won't show it. I mean, they're
right.
You're literally going to have to get a little creative.
You got to have a sham.
But remember, there's the shot, that everybody, and then they put up this. I mean, ESPN can do a really good job. The tight shots, yeah, they can make sure, although there's, one of the famous, what we call a cutaway in the business, Monday Night Football, they did a slow zoom in on the fan. And right when they got in tight with the fan put the middle finger up at the camera. And Don Meredith said to Howard Cosell, "Look, Howard, he thinks you're number one." Okay. So, I mean, it can happen. But, I mean, Mark, I text with Jeff Cameron and a few Florida State people I know, and I go, are they serious about this? And they're like, yeah, this is a bad idea. This will, the Florida State fan, this isn't going to be about, the way Florida State by then will already have announced what conference they're going to. And if they're going to the Big Ten, not ESPN. Okay, I'm telling you, this is an awful idea. It's going to be blank Kirk Herb Street, blank Kirk, blank Herb Street. Okay, ESPN blank, ESPN blank. 3 hours. Do not think it won't. You're naive, ESPN. I said it yesterday to a few people when I got to the hotel and we were watching football together. And I'm like, because a couple of the people on the crew came, like the producer and the director of Monday Night Football came from ESPN college football. And I go, you still talk to the people there? They're like, yeah. I like, you got to get them to change the idea. I go, you have no idea what they're in for.
When you said that, were they taken aback by it, or did they agree with you? Did they get it? Or did you have to further explain? I mean, did they just kind of tap you on the shoulder and say, that's cute?
I took out my phone and I showed them some stuff and I go, here you go. Here you go. By the way, don't think 9 months is going to change this, especially when
9 months is just going to get them angrier.
Especially when
it may die down. It may die down in June and July because summer comes and people go on with their lives. But when August comes, they're going to be just as hot about it as that they were a couple of weeks ago when they were shut out.
And it's the first game, too, right? So that's even worse, I think. If you kind of have a chance to let it fester a little more and it's in the middle of the season, some of that blows over. But it's the first time you're seeing them.
There was an ESPN executive in the room. He's like a top 5 executive with the company. I showed him some of the social media. I go, you got to move this inside the stadium. I know it'll hurt the atmosphere and what have you. I go, if you try to pull this show off, I go, it's going to be a disaster.
Why would you do that? Why couldn't you just let us have the disaster?
Oh, they're not going to listen to me.
Why do you have to fix things, David?
No. I tried to fix it. They're not going to listen to me. What are you kidding me?
Chaos. Shocker.
Always.
I just want to be on record.
Guy in front of me to win his double down bet that he just made. These are the things I want.
He didn't split and double, did he?
I don't know. I just saw him reach into his pocket for cash.
Oh,
he had chips up, and he got the cards, and he had to get another 20 out or whatever. So I was rooting for him.
He must have got aces.
He's still at the table, so I'm guessing he won.
Okay.
Mark, you're almost there.
Oh, I can smell the chips. It's that close.
Potato?
No.
Or poker?
Poker.
Gotcha.
Cash chips, green chips. You know the ones I'm talking about, David. Those $25 chips. Lots of them stacked on top of one another, making big bets. I'm at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee. They're getting ready for their grand opening of roulette and craps and the sportsbook kiosk, all happening today at 11 a.m.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Mark, for these two, if you don't mind, give me a vocal cue for, like, just tell me, like, time now for, and I'll try not to miss it.
Yeah.
I'm watching on the Twitch stream, so it's a little behind. So if you point, I won't see it. Thank you.
Hey, you good?
You can come in that way, but you're closer to the event.
Lions open as a 4-point favorite next weekend. I thought it'd be half that.
No, they are not, Johnny Fingerlegs.
No, Mish Go Blue. That's the gentleman who runs that station. He's an Alabama fan.
Definitely not me. If it were up to me, this whole bulletin board would be Honolulu blue. A little bit of green and white. Need all the positive vibes I can get.
Okay.
Any update on the Dolphins situation, Mark?
Well, for me?
Yeah.
No, I got to talk to my mom. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. It would be a hell party yesterday, Dolphins game today, got my wife's office Christmas party Tuesday, and then some other Christmas party that she's dragging me to on Wednesday.
Big week.
Oh, shoot me now.
You sound so excited. Do you guys like Hard Rock Stadium?
I've not been since they've really redone it.
Okay.
Since they've redone it, it's significantly better.
When was that done?
He did it to get the Super Bowl, so I'd say he did it 6 years ago.
Okay.
Because they did the Super Bowl, the 2019 season. So maybe, at least 5 years ago he did it. I give him credit. He took all the money out of his own pocket.
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton. I'm in Lower Manhattan. Giants Packers, one of the two Monday Night Football games. That one's on ABC. Dolphins hosting the Titans, 13.5-point favorites. That one's on ESPN. Fowler, Riddick, Orlovsky with the call of that one. Mark, double duty tonight. He gets to say he's halfway to the Dolphins game, but that's not really why he's where he is.
No, I'm at the Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee as they are having their grand opening of craps, roulette, and sports betting. This sounds wonderful, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. Wow. Damn.
They're all ready to go here. Places jumping already in the morning.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, Edgerrin James, Tito Ortiz, they're all going to be there in like 30, 45 minutes, right?
Yeah, they should be rolling in here shortly. This thing, the reception begins, I believe, at 10:15, I'm told. And the first throw is shortly thereafter. So all I know is that at 10 o'clock, they want me out of here. They were very happy to have me here. And we've had a relationship with this place for 20 years. So we go way back with a lot of the folks here. Kathy Baker in particular, who's been just great to David and I over the years, and she was again this morning. But when we were setting up, she's like, "Are you done at 10 or are you done a little before 10?" I said, We're done at 9:53. That's good. Because everything's starting right thereafter. And we kind of need to be right where you're at.
Right. I need a minute 38 to clean up. Is that okay? So, Trent, you'll be doing the promo today. Okay, because Mark's got to go.
Fine with me.
Okay. So I don't know how much good, bad, and ugly what's on tap today was the day when you got, but give us what you got.
Let's do it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
16:20 we start today, David. Pilgrims come ashore at Plymouth Bay. The rest, as they say, is history. 1949, the Cleveland Browns beat the San Francisco 49ers in the final AAFC championship game. Joe DiMaggio announces his retirement from baseball today in 51. Elvis's Blue Hawaii goes number 1 today in 61. And Motown releases Please Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes. It's the group's and the label's first number 1 pop song, topping the chart for 13 weeks. Magnum P.I. premiered tonight in 1980.
Did you watch that?
No.
And he
Never
wore
was
the Tigers hat and everything. I thought that might lure you and your family in. I was never into it either.
Today in 81, Ali's 61st and last fight. He would lose to Trevor Berbick in the Bahamas. Mats Wilander wins his second Grand Slam title, winning the Australian today in 83. Wall Street was released today in 87, David.
Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel. Pass it along.
Charlie Ward won his Heisman today in 93, and Wenke won his Heisman today in 2000. Joe Sakic scores career goal number 500 today in 2002. Matt Leinart wins his Heisman in 04. And I saw this, and I didn't even to tell you how long it's been since I've looked at a magazine like this. It says in 2015, Playboy magazine publishes its last nude issue. That was news to me in 2023.
Well, you've reached a different phase of your life, Mark.
Exactly. John Kerry's 80. Brenda Lee and Terry Garr are 79. Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue is 65. What did I miss, David?
Today in 1964, Sam Cooke died. A suspicious death. Also today, 45 years ago, the Lufthansa heist at JFK. You know, Goodfellas?
I'm just watching him whack the wall in the shower right now as he's hearing it on the radio.
And 15 years ago today, Bernie Madoff arrested.
And that leads us to?
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, the good today is very simple. Craps, roulette, legalized sports gambling. Now, I know the app's been open for a while and you can do it on the app, but now you can come right to the casino and place your bets. You can walk away from the blackjack table and bet on a game. You can roll dice.
Right.
You can watch a ball roll around in a circle for 20 to 30 seconds at a time and see how much money you can win. I plan on doing all of those things in about an hour. For the bad, we go to Sarasota, where a deputy was finishing up on a routine traffic stop, writing a written warning in lieu of giving a ticket, when 69-year-old Alexander Stan came up from behind and started beating his fist against her window. The man said he lived in the apartment complex where the deputy was conducting the traffic stop and that the deputy needed to leave so he could get out. The deputy said she was doing her job and that he needed to leave. Now, the 69-year-old refused. He went chest to chest with the deputy, yelling, pointing his finger in her face. The deputy grabbed his wrist and shirt, tried to put him in handcuffs. He denied her and almost struck the deputy trying to break free. Backup arrived, and he spent the rest of the night in jail. Finally, the ugly, we go to Longwood, Florida, where E.J. Levin and his family were preparing for dinner when his wife alerted him to the spectacle outside. They'd gone all Griswolds for the Christmas season, putting up lighted reindeer in their front yard when a black bear came and attacked the deer and took it off on its own. And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, December the 11th, 2023.
9 games in the association tonight. Heat on the road in Charlotte. Magic at home for the Cavs. It's a pretty good game. 4 games in the NHL tonight. The Lightning and Panthers are not playing. Toronto, the Islanders, Detroit, and Dallas. That'll be a decent game. Some skating in that one. College hoops tonight. Not much of a slate at all between finals, the holidays, and Monday Night Football. So college basketball said, no, we're good. We're good. In fact, only one in-state team playing tonight on the men's side, that being Jacksonville. Of course, we have Monday Night Football. Tennessee Titans are 4-8.
Yeah, we can't tell them no.
And they're in Miami. 13.5-point dogs to face the 9-3, looking for their 4th win in a row, Dolphins. I really like Miami tonight. I think they will relish being in prime time for the, how many times they've been in prime time? They had one Sunday night game?
Yep.
And, they got Hard Knocks around them. I think this team is actually relishing the attention.
They seem to be embracing the attention. They really are.
They might as well. A, they're going to get a lot of it going forward. And B, isn't this what you want?
The whole point. You don't get attention unless you're what, David? Good. And people seem to think this is a good football team. They've still got a lot to prove. They've got it all in front of them. But I'm with you. I like Miami, and I'd lay the points tonight, David.
Yeah, I would too. I would love for it to stay under 14. If it gets in the 14 and a half range, 13 and a half, I'm all over it. Over under 46 and a half, I think I'd go over. I know unders have been the play in nationally televised games, but in the last 2 weeks, actually, the over has been the play.
I will say, and I just checked the Hard Rock app, it's 14 and a half.
Yeah.
On the Hard Rock app.
Yeah. So we know where the money is coming in on and from. That game's on ESPN. Simultaneously. Yeah, not ideal, I know. Blame the NFL. Believe me, it is not the network's doing. Why would they want 2 games? Never mind 2 games at the same time. Packers, Giants. Green Bay's won 3 in a row. Chance to get above 500. Giants have won 2 in a row, even though they're averaging a whopping 13 points a game. Green Bay, a 6.5-point favorite. At least they were this morning. Don't know where the money's coming from there.
5.5 on the Hard Rock app for those betting that way.
Interesting. Wow. Over under was around 36 and a half. So, 21-15, 20-15, something like that. That's what we're looking at. I think I'd go.
I don't know
under.
why, but I like the G-men tonight. Not to win, but I think I'm telling you, I just got a feeling.
Well, it's got to be a feeling.
But I love the. I wouldn't bet Packers and Giants. I'd stay away.
So that game's on ABC. Dolphins Titans on ESPN. I believe this is the only simultaneous doubleheader. I'm pretty sure it's the last doubleheader of the year for Monday Night Football. And it's the NFL's doing, and they'll take a look at the numbers and the feedback, and they'll decide whether or not they're going to do this going forward. I think we're still going to have double headers on Monday Night Football a couple times a year, but my hope is this will be the last time the NFL decides to put 2 games on at the same time.
Don't you think they should start the Saturday slate thing a week earlier? After Army-Navy, they put on one Saturday night game. The NFL?
Well, yes, but part of the problem, Trent, is that you got Fox and CBS who are paying over $2 billion a year, and they're like, "How many more games are you going to take away from us?" No, seriously.
No, you're
like,
right.
Thursday night, and by the way, you're now allowing Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays to flex. So we don't, we could lose our second best game every week, the final month of the year. I mean, how much does $2.2 billion get us these days?
Not what it used to, David. Not nearly what it used to.
But I'm with you, Trent. We have wondered for years, when was college football going to take Army-Navy weekend away from Army-Navy? At least the NFL would let the Army-Navy game happen and then schedule their games.
But next year, the college football playoff. When are you going to play the 5-12 games?
I think they're going to move. I think Army-Navy is going to get moved to like noon, and they're going to play the playoff games in and around it. Especially since for the first couple of years of the playoff, CBS, who has Army-Navy, is not involved in the playoff. So ESPN and the college football playoff, in theory, could give a damn about Army-Navy, which is a shame, but it's all about
we got a
money.
texter today that just doesn't want to ever see that game be anything but by itself. Thinks that game should be always a standalone, and it's just the way the world should work, if you know what I mean.
I do love how it's the exclamation point to the college football season. I do. I love what it represents. I don't think it's bad for us as a sporting public to take a moment, and this is how we're going to put a bow on the season. Okay, I can live with that. I mean, they're only
better than how they start the season, David.
Right.
With some of the games they give us in week 0.
Exactly. I mean, these men are only willing to die for us. I think we can give them 3 hours.
And because they run so much, it's usually only 3. Sometimes it's even 2:45.
That was what happened down the stretch of this game. Man, when Army had the defensive score to go up 17-3, it's like, we're going to be out of here in about 4 minutes and 35 seconds. And then that took a half an hour. It's like, what's going on here?
That fourth quarter delivered, that's for sure, especially if you had money on it, like someone I know, 27.5. Over under.
He's going to bring that up again, huh?
And no,
to a guy that had the under and suffered one of the worst bad beats in bad beat history.
I'm sorry. I'm ice cold outside of that one for the last week. My Lions can't get anything right. I got people in the Twitch chat room calling me out for saying the Heat were a lock against the Cavs on Friday. That didn't hit. I'm in rough shape.
You know what, David? Come to think of it, there was a time when people called you mush on this show.
I know.
Your mushness has been replaced because Trent, he's right. He can't buy a winner.
No.
At $3 a bet, he's going to run out of money in 2028. But
I know. You know why? Because it all started when he said, you know what? I think I'm going to bet the Pistons. Okay. And these are the gambling gods going, listen, okay, we were taking care of you, but now you're on your own. Mark, good luck at the Seminole Casino. We'll talk again tomorrow. David Sampson will join us, Miller and Moulton.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples.